Chapter 435. Coco. Luo Qingchun cleared her throat and pretended to be calm as she said, "Didn't you say you had nothing in mind?" Di Luo Feng said with a chuckle. "Perhaps it's because my master has arranged matters for me all day, so I'm a bit moved." "Ah," she teased with a smile. "So your master is still worried about the important matters of your life." "My master said that for an imperial beastmaster like me, I can't marry a girl who is also an imperial beastmaster." His blue eyes lit up as he seriously looked at her. "Because I definitely can't tame a spirit beast." Luo Qingchun heard this and thought of Xue Qilin, as her heart couldn't help beating faster. This was her first time facing a man who didn't like her and had his affection drop to negative 20%. Slowly changing bit by bit, he began to have a good impression of her. This kind of feeling wasn't bad. "So, what kind of girls does your master introduce you to?" When she asked this question, she was a bit nervous. She felt like she was using a different method to pry into other people's hearts. "Waste young miss." There was a Li Guang that flashed in his eyes as he said, "My master seems to like the waist third young miss of the calm Martial City's Luo family the most. Perhaps he'll have me marry her next year." Without knowing why, Di Luo Feng felt that his heart was filled with joy at this moment. It was an unprecedented joy that he couldn't describe. "Ah!" Luo Qingchun felt her breathing stop as she suddenly felt a bit of indescribable emotion. "Were you disappointed about?" "How could I?" She suddenly looked right into his eyes. Her long lashes trembled slightly, and her expression was incomparably stiff. "If Miss Luo comes to steal the groom at that time," Di Luo Feng said with a soft laugh, "I'll go with you." "Who wants to steal the groom?" Luo Qingchun bit her lip and said, "You're suited for the waist, young miss. Don't tame any divine beasts next year. Just live a good life." Aya, so angry. Why did it feel like Di Luo Feng's serious joke was enough to make her angry? Could it be that because she became a 9th-grade Imperial Beastmaster a year earlier, there should be retribution? If revenge breeds revenge, when will it end? AI. Di Luo Feng gave a sigh. "Then I'm doomed. I've heard that the Luo family's third young miss has been in a coma for many years." "God." Luo Qingchun saw the faint smile on his face. This joke is funny. Not bad." His gaze gradually deepened, as if a star had lit up in the sky. Bang! While they were still immersed in their playful conversation, a dazzling white light flashed in the sky above the Jadewood region. Di Luo Feng raised his right hand and unconsciously put her behind him. This small action, it was as if a subconscious reaction deep in his brain was to protect her first. Luo Qingchun lowered her head with a smile. She pursed her lips and said, "Is young Master Di protecting a stumbling block on the path of Imperial Beast?" "I'm protecting my future." He waved his right hand, and the azure ink orb in his hand released a faint azure glow. He turned to look at her and said, "The one who might steal the groom in the future and escape my suffering is a 9th-grade Imperial Beastmaster." When he said this, his heart was unexpectedly satisfied. Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 30%. Luo Qingchun's eyes sparkled and her ears turned a bit red. Why did it feel like Di Luo Feng could always casually touch her heart? Chapter 436. Pong pong. Another 2 rays of white light filled the sky. "Just what is this situation?" Luo Qingchun looked at the white sky and pursed her lips. "It doesn't seem like the second-ranked snow silkworm's doing. It indeed isn't." Di Luo Feng knit his brows and said, "Or perhaps the snow silkworm has been tamed." Luo Qingchun knit her brows. Who had the ability to tame the snow silkworm before them? This was the second-ranked divine beast of the 100-beast continent. Ayo! Before they could even react, under the white light, not far away, there was a completely red silkworm that was gradually becoming bigger. God, this is... Luo Qingchun was stunned by the silkworm that had been growing, and her heart was filled with a bit of panic. Could it be you, Ruo Shui? Bloodthirsty energy. Di Luo Feng knit his brows and jumped out, flying in the direction of the snow silkworm. The azure ink orb in his hand released a large amount of azure light as it flew at the completely red silkworm without any hesitation. Luo Qingshun didn't have time to think as she followed behind. Pung, 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 the red and azure lights kept colliding in the sky. The giant snow silkworm seemed to have lost control as it released red poison. Don't come over. Luo Feng waved his right hand, and the azure light stopped her. His azure ink orb released layers of azure light as the imperial beast energy flew in the direction of the snow silkworm. After that, the snow silkworm bounced back like it had been stimulated again. A sharp tentacle cut into his arm. Luo Feng, don't come over. Luo Feng tightly knit his brows. After the azure ink orb in his hand was dyed in his blood, its power had greatly increased. The imperial beast energy was activated again, and layers of azure light surrounded the snow silkworm. After a while, the snow silkworm was finally submerged in azure light and slowly calmed down. Luo Qingchun jumped out and looked at Luo Feng beside her as she said, "You're injured?" "Small injury." His brows slightly knit as the blood in his body began to boil. "Who tamed it?" Luo Qingshun looked at the snow silkworm lying on the ground. Although it had lost its fighting ability, there was no way to tame it. "Since you know that someone opened the Dark Beast Pavilion, do you know what kind of price one has to pay to obtain Bloodthirsty's power?" Luo Feng said this while putting the snow silkworm into a spirit pet bag with a sealing power, using layers of azure light to seal the bag. Luo Qingshun shook her head. "I don't know. Using all the blood in her body." Luo Feng said, "Using the bloodthirsty power to increase the Imperial Beast Master's grade is a heaven-defying method. She has to change all the blood in her body and inject the poisonous blood to succeed. Ordinary people can't do this. Only beast tamers can. So these snow silkworms have already been tamed by someone with the power of bloodthirst." Luo Feng looked at her and said, "No matter what, we have to inform the sect master about this matter." In an instant, a golden swallow and a white giant pigeon appeared in the sky. They were all messages sent by the sect leaders of the two sections. "They want us to go to the Beast Mound." Luo Qingshun looked up and said, "I think that the master should know about the matter of the bloodthirsty power, so they want us to tame the 3 divine beasts before that person. No matter what, we're going to the Beast Mound first." Luo Feng slightly pursed his lips and said, "We definitely can't let her catch up to us this time." At this moment, the blood in his body couldn't help boiling. He knew that if he didn't return to the sect now, his life would be in danger. But even like this, he didn't plan on letting the girl beside him go to the Beast Mound alone. Chapter 437. Luo Qingchun was strangely silent the entire way. That Beast Mound, the previous host had never been there before. There really was a bit of a bleak future. "Don't worry," Luo Feng said. "Nothing will happen. You're not waiting for Xiaoyu?" Luo Qingxin knit her brows. Actually, she wanted to know where Yu Ruo Shui was more. "No need." Luo Feng shook his head and said, "I don't want to bring his corpse back to the Celestial Hall." Although his tone was a bit relaxed, his brows were still knit the entire time. "Are you feeling unwell?" Luo Qingxun seemed to have noticed something and raised her hand to softly touch his forehead, but she found that it was burning hot. "Ding, affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 40%. He had a fever. Why did he increase his affection for her?" I'm fine." Luo Feng's breathing became a bit fast. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva as he looked at her and said, "Rest early." He felt that when the girl in front of him softly touched his forehead, the blood in his body became even hotter. This kind of hotter was different from before. There was a warm heat to it. "No, how can you go to the Beast Mound like this?" Luo Qingchun knit her brows and said, "Is your wound infected?" Normal Imperial Beast Masters had certain spells, so they could use spells to heal wounds. Normally speaking, they wouldn't get infected. Not to mention that Luo Feng was a 9th grade Imperial Beast Master. Perhaps a bit. Luo Feng shook his head in a relaxed manner. "It should be because I used too much Imperial Beast energy. Even the Orb of Light can't take it." Luo Qingshan heard this and slowly took off her white cloak, putting it over him as she said, "Then don't catch a cold again." Ding, affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 50%. Hey, God, just how shy was this youth? It was clear that he had never been with a girl before. Luo Qingshan. Di Luo Feng looked up as his eyes sparkled with liguang. His white as snow face had a faint blush as he seriously said to her word for word, "Speaking of this, are you really not here to steal the bride? Do you really want to marry Miss Trash?" Luo Qingshan didn't answer, but asked him back. She casually said, "Young Master D, can you not call me by my full name?" Di Luo Feng had mentioned the waste young miss twice. Could it be that he wasn't just casually saying it, and there was really someone waiting for him to marry? She didn't know why, but when she thought of this, a faint sense of loss flashed through her heart. She felt that she had finally left a different mark in his heart through her efforts. But in the blink of an eye, another potential marriage candidate had appeared. Then what should we shout? Di Luo Feng slowly put his coat back on her, and his lips curled into a faint smile as he said, "Qing?" Or, "Stop, cook." Luo Qingshan gave 2 coughs before pursing her lips and saying, "This question, let's stop here." She couldn't help but think of the dream in the other shore forgotten river. What he said to her. Instantly, her face turned red and her heart skipped a beat. He gave a soft laugh and said nothing else. Closing his eyes, it was like there were millions of ants crawling in his body, but there was a soft feeling in his heart that he had never felt before. After a while, Luo Qingshan's clear voice sounded in the silent night. "If that day really comes, I'll just force myself to steal it." Her voice was very soft as she opened her eyes to look at Di Luo Feng leaning against a tree. There seemed to be no reaction. Chapter 438. The next morning, when Luo Qingshan woke up, Di Luo Feng was already no longer by her side. He only left a note. "To tame the number 1 divine beast, of course I have to be a step ahead of you. I know you will definitely follow me, so follow my steps and be careful." Damn! Luo Qingshan's hand was covered in white light as she wildly charged towards the beast mound. She knew that he wasn't taming the snow mastiff, but rather to protect her. Why did Di Luo Feng always like to say one thing and mean another? He could clearly leave a note saying, "I'm afraid I can't protect you, so I'm going to explore first." Why did he have to write it like he was going ahead of her for something? She ran as fast as she could to the beast mound, but when she arrived, Di Luo Feng was already covered in blood as he faced the snow mastiff in the air. No, it wasn't the snow mastiff. It was someone wearing a black cloak, so she couldn't see their face. In an instant, Luo Qingshan didn't even think as she waved the exquisite ring on her right hand and entered the battle. When he saw this, he slightly knit his brows and said, "I've already broken the snow mastiff's weakness, so you tame it first. I'll take care of this person with the bloodthirsty energy." Ha ha ha. Her voice suddenly became that of a man before suddenly becoming that of an angry woman. She stood on top of the beast mound and said with a smile, "Di Luo Feng, you're poisoned and you dare act tough with me? I think you should just leave your life here today." Poisoned? By me? Luo Qingshan's voice trembled a bit. She looked at Di Luo Feng with a face as white as snow and said, "Cuckoo." There was a sweet taste in his mouth as he spat out a large mouthful of blood. His eyes were deep as he gave the spirit pet bag in his hand to her. "There's no time. Tame the snow mastiff first." He softly pushed her, and the azure ink orb in his hand lit up, attacking the cloaked person. Luo Qingshan tightly gritted her teeth as she looked at the snow mastiff trapped by the azure light. The splendid flashy orb appeared in her hand, and her imperial beast energy poured in layer by layer. The snow mastiff kept struggling, but because of the azure light, it couldn't move. She raised her right hand, and a white light appeared above the snow mastiff. At the same time, the green light on its body instantly merged with it. Boom! The mastiff was successfully tamed by the 2 of them at the same time. The next second, she spread out the spirit pet bag, and the snow mastiff instantly rushed into it. When she wanted to turn back to help Di Luo Feng, he was already kneeling on the ground covered in blood. She hurriedly hugged him in her arms, her fingertips slightly trembling. The cloaked figure continued to speak with a voice that was neither male nor female. The snow silkworm's poison isn't something that can be dispelled just by suppressing it with spirit techniques. On the contrary, it will quickly corrode your blood, causing you unbearable pain. I know who you are. Luo Qingshan raised her cold eyes and looked at the half-man, half-woman cloaked man in front of her and said, "Give me the antidote. What do you want? Just say it." The cloaked person was obviously taken aback, but then she looked up to the sky and laughed. She said coldly, "I can give you the antidote, but you have to do one thing. Stop wasting words." She bit her lip and her eyes were ice cold. "I want you to waste all your 9th grade Imperial Beastmaster abilities. I want you to become a cripple. Don't listen to her. You, go." Di Luo Feng seemed to have sensed something as he tightly grabbed her sleeve, speaking with difficulty. "Deal." After saying this, she waved the splendid flashy orb in her right hand and looked at the cloaked person in front of her. "Give me the antidote." The cloaked person took out the antidote and revealed a terrifying smile. Waste. Chapter 439. The sky changed color and the dark clouds fell. The entire beast mound was filled with a killing intent. Luo Qingshan stood up, and the splendid flashy orb in her hand was covered in white light. Yu Ruo Shui slowly took off her cloak, revealing a half-man, half-woman face with dark red blood flowing through her veins. That was the poison she had exchanged with the bloodthirsty energy. She looked at her with a cold smile and said, "Master, you think you can beat me? A person who needs to open the Dark Beast Pavilion and obtain the bloodthirsty energy to reach the 5th spiritual level. How much waste do you think you are?" Luo Qingshan narrowed her cold eyes, and the exquisite ring in her hand was covered in a faint golden glow. Her appearance had changed the original path of the story, and Yu Ruo Shui had turned evil ahead of time. No, it could be said that she wasn't in vain. Ha ha ha. Yu Ruo Shui's half-man, half-woman voice sounded again as she looked at her and said, "Daring to talk back when you're about to die, are you crippled or not?" Luo Qingshan slightly lowered her brows and looked at Di Luo Feng's closed eyes with a pale face. She slightly bit her lip and said, "Watch carefully." After saying this, she closed her eyes. The splendid flashy orb in her hand turned dark, and the surroundings fell into darkness. Yu Ruo Shui tightly knit her brows. She felt something was wrong as she found that the antidote in her hand had been covered in white light. Instantly, she was surrounded in blood-red light, and her eyes were filled with a killing intent. Master, do you really think that I would give you the antidote?" Yu Ruo Shui laughed into the sky. "As long as you kill me, you can obtain the antidote. It's a pity that you can't kill me. How about it? A disciple will always be a disciple." Luo Qingshan shook the bottle and slightly knit her brows. "Damn, it really was a fake. If you want to kill Yu Ruo Shui, there's only one method." "Ah, that's right, I'm the system. System, you are my god. Speak, what method?" "Host, take the exquisite ring and die with her. After she dies, she will turn into a pill condensed from the bloodthirsty energy, which is the antidote." "You want me to die with her? Is there a problem with your brain?" "My mission. The host won't die." "Oh, then you should have said that earlier." She was just about to ask what would happen to the mission if she died. She didn't expect the system to have already thought of an answer for her. It was really a good system. Her love for it these days was not in vain. In an instant, Luo Qingshan jumped up, and the exquisite ring on her right hand shone with golden light. Yu Ruo Shui was obviously slightly taken aback, because she was extremely unfamiliar with this golden light. In her impression, Luo Qingshan should only possess the splendid springtime pearl. So exactly what is this formidable force? What is this? When Yu Ruo Shui saw the golden light engulfing her body inch by inch, she turned pale with fright and said, "No, impossible." Luo Qingshan's eyebrows moved slightly. She looked at her coldly and said, "Master is always master." Bang! The sky instantly became incomparably bright. Yu Ruo Shui's body was corroded by the golden light. Pieces of brittle cracks started to appear on her body. It was as if her body had been pieced together and fell apart in an instant. From the sky came a mournful wail that was neither male nor female. Soon after, silence was restored. Luo Qingxin only felt that after using the exquisite ring's full power, everything in front of her eyes turned pitch black and she lost consciousness. The youth on the ground used all his strength to open his eyes. He looked at the white-clothed girl slowly descending. Her eyes carried a faint guang, and his chest was in pain. Chapter 440. When she opened her eyes again, it was a noisy market. The scene in front of her was shaky, and she felt a pain on her feet. It seemed like someone was grabbing her ears, and it was very uncomfortable. What was going on? Where is this? Yo, Hunter Wong, you're here to sell things again. Grandma Wong, who was selling watermelons, saw him and asked. Hunter Wong said happily, I was lucky today. I caught a rabbit. It looks good, and it's a little fat. Such a rabbit could be considered to have grown very well in a village in the mountains. Rabbit? Rabbit. She actually turned into a rabbit. God, the rabbit with the lowest grade in the spiritual pet world of the 100 Beast continent. What kind of joke was this? Where was the system? The system is here. Forget it. You better not come out. Just stay where it's cool. She was held in the hands of a hunter until they reached the busiest place in Wuhan City. Only then did they stop. Looking around, there were cages all around, and the cages were all filled with spiritual beasts. Even the lowest level was at least mid-level, and she was only a low-level rabbit. Selling rabbits, they look good, fat and big. They can be pets and can be eaten. The hunter who was holding her cleared his throat and hawked along the street. This sales pitch was really, she was so angry that she wanted to open her mouth and roar, but she realized that she couldn't make any sound. Rabbits were born without vocal cords, so they couldn't make any sound. It was the same even for spiritual pets. Back and forth, many people stopped in their tracks. They were either rich ladies or low-grade beast tamers. They all bought the other spiritual beast beside her cage with tacit understanding, but no one bought her. Until the sun set in the west, the originally happy hunter became very depressed. He started to shout that he was selling at a low price, and in the end, even her price was the same as an ordinary rabbit. But even if it was only 5 taels of silver, no one wanted her. God, she was simply a genius. This baby used to be a level 9 beast tamer who dominated the entire 100 Beast continent. Okay? I think you're just a piece of trash. Hunter Wong kicked the cage, looking as if he wanted to skin her alive. She only felt a burst of pain. Her leg had already been hit, and the pain made her tremble. Just as Hunter Wong was about to slaughter her on the spot, a cool and familiar voice rang out, stirring the throbbing in the depths of her heart. I'll buy it. Di Luo Feng looked at the rabbit in the cage, and a faint sparkle appeared in his bottomless eyes. A light that had not been seen for a long time. Isn't this senior brother Di Luo Feng? The low-level Imperial Beast Masters from before all revealed looks of admiration when they saw Di Luo Feng. It's been a long time since I last saw you, senior brother. Since 3 years ago, Di Luo Feng heard this, and his cold eyes narrowed as the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped. That person saw that his face had changed greatly and his body trembled. He didn't dare to continue speaking. It had been 3 years, and he was the only beast tamer on the 100 Beast continent. He was a legend in the beast tamer world and was revered by tens of thousands of people. But why did he feel so lonely in his heart? Perhaps at first, he thought that the thing he had been pursuing all his life was just a passing cloud. If there wasn't a person walking in front of him, how boring would that be? Di Luo Feng came forward and placed a gold ingot in the hunter's hand. Then he picked up the rabbit in the cage and walked forward. Without knowing why, when he first saw this rabbit, the dream of the other shore forgotten river appeared in his mind. At that time, there was also a rabbit like this. At that time, its foot was also injured. Chapter 441. When Luo Qingxun saw Di Luo Feng, her heart was filled with incomparable joy. As expected, a 9th-grade Imperial Beastmaster's eyes really were different. Being able to tell with a single glance who was high quality, his eyes were unique. The heavenly hound by the low-grade Imperial Beastmaster's side wasn't happy. After all, it was a middle-grade spirit beast, so it felt like a broken rabbit had stolen its limelight. After that, it suddenly jumped out and opened its mouth, charging in her direction. Damn, it seems like it can swallow her whole. Luo Feng gave a cold snort as a faint chill appeared in his eyes. There was a strong wind behind him as an azure light exploded in the sky. There was a snow-white divine beast that suddenly appeared behind him, the snow mastiff. The heavenly hound took several steps back in fear and could only cry out in pleading. First divine beast. Those low-grade imperial beast masters were all shocked as they took several steps back, not daring to say another word. There was an azure and white glow on the left and right sides of the snow mastiff, and there was a faint ching word on its head. It really is the snow mastiff that I tamed. It really is different from those low-grade spirit beasts. That appearance, that aura, and that beast strength. Luo Feng narrowed his cold eyes and turned to leave without any expression. The snow mastiff gave a yawn and slowly followed behind him. After that, it was surrounded by azure light and surrounded by the wind, becoming smaller and smaller. Jumping out, it jumped into Luo Feng's sleeve. Luo Qingxun rubbed her head against his chest, and there was still blood dripping from the wound by her foot. It was very painful, but she couldn't make a single sound. He was a bit surprised as he stopped in front of a pharmacy. The shopkeeper was a kind-hearted girl. Seeing that the rabbit in his arms was injured, she quickly came forward to bandage it. He softly took the gauze from the girl's hand and said, "No need, I'll do it." In the other shore-forgotten river at the beginning of the dream, that young girl had carefully bandaged a rabbit's wound like this. The rabbit seemed to like it very much, lying down beside her after it was bandaged. When he opened his eyes that day, and Xiaoyu had rushed over in a hurry. He was the one who gave him the antidote that was scattered all over the floor. At that moment, his eyes frantically searched for the white-clothed girl's figure. However, he discovered that she was lying quietly on the flat ground not far away. She had long stopped breathing. All these years, he had been thinking, if only he hadn't asked her to come to the beast mound. Then, none of this would have happened. She was also the most powerful 9th-level beast tamer on the 100 Beast continent, and she was still alive. Luo Qingxun looked up and saw Luo Feng's dazed eyes, causing her heart to tremble. Those eyes were filled with desolation and despair. They were dark and gloomy, without a trace of light. That low-level beast tamer had said 3 years. Could it be that she had perished together with Ruo Shui in the beast mound? 3 years had already passed. I've been running a pharmacy for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen a man bandage a rabbit's wound so carefully, the shopkeeper said with a faint smile. Luo Feng softly responded. He picked her up as a rabbit and left the pharmacy. On the way, he softly patted her head, not caring about the looks of disbelief from the people around him. Luo Qingxun looked up slightly. Looking at his impeccable face, there was a trace of emotion as he passed through the people in the market. Looking at Chapter 442, Calm Martial City, D Manor, Luo Feng's Manor. He didn't return to the Celestial Hall 3 years ago. He didn't know the meaning of going back. He didn't know the meaning of being an Imperial Beastmaster. When he came in, he gave her to the maid Bing, and ordered, "Prepare a room for her." Yes, Bing, carefully took her as a rabbit and said, "Young master, the Luo family's second miss came looking for you again today. Look, ask her to come back." "I won't." Before Luo Feng even finished, Luo Yingning's soft voice sounded. She was standing under a tree, not far away with her hands at her waist. Luo Qingxun turned her head and saw the appearance of the person who came. She was wearing a water-green robe with a cloud-patterned robe, and her hair was combed into a bun. There was a pomegranate-wrapped golden hairpin on her head. She looked like a large family's young miss. "Big brother Luo Feng." She pursed her lips and said, "Don't chase me away." Luo Feng's eyes turned cold, and he slightly knit his brows as he said, "Young Miss Luo, there is nothing to talk about between us." "There is. You are inextricably linked to the Luo family." Luo Yingning quickly came forward and grabbed his sleeve. "I've heard your master say that you have an engagement with the Luo family." When she said this, Her voice was very small, and there was a bit of indignation in her voice. Thinking of her meeting with Di Luo Feng, it was the beginning of 1,000-year love in her eyes. On a certain afternoon a year ago, she ran out of the Luo Manor to play. She never thought that she would meet a mid-grade beast spirit that hadn't been tamed yet. The beast spirit's attacks were very fierce, and she was immediately trapped, not being able to move at all. At this time, Di Luo Feng fell from the sky and a blue light surrounded her. That beast spirit didn't have any temper at all as it softly laid on the ground. To Luo Yingning, that glance was her entire life. Di Luo Feng was a hero that fell from the sky in her eyes, firmly protecting her behind him. Even if I have an engagement with the Luo family, it isn't with you. It's with your little sister, isn't it? Di Luo Feng's eyes were very cold, and the dark look in his eyes instantly froze everyone around him. This marriage was arranged by his master when he was 10 years old. Who would have thought that the Luo family's third miss would suddenly fall ill and lie in bed in a coma for 6 years? He had never met the third young lady of the Luo clan, so he could have rejected her outright. However, in the past 3 years, a sentence kept flashing through his mind. If there really is such a day, I will reluctantly go and snatch it. That young girl said that if he really married the Luo family's third miss, she would come and snatch the bride. This was a promise that had been made. Brother Luo Feng. Luo Yingning's face was a bit stiff. She bit her lip and said, "My little sister has been in a coma for all these years. Father will definitely arrange another marriage for you. There are only 3 girls in the Luo clan. My sister is already married, so I'm the only one left." What she said was what she was thinking in her heart. All these years, she had also mentioned this matter to her father in a roundabout way. But her father seemed to be in a difficult position, saying that the person chosen by the Celestial Hall's sect master was her little sister. Based on what? A person who had been lying in bed for 6 years could steal the man she fell in love with at first sight. She wasn't willing. Chapter 443. After saying this, he turned to walk into the main hall. He didn't even look at Luo Yingning, who was standing there with eyes that were about to pop out. As for Luo Qingshan, who was still in the form of a rabbit in his embrace, her heart was beating fast. Di Luo Feng in her eyes wasn't an ice-cold person. Occasionally, she could see the warmth of Li Guang in his eyes. But now, whether it was his tone or his attitude, it was like he kept people 1,000 miles away. Also, Calm Marshall City's Luo family's third young miss. This person, she had heard Di Luo Feng mention her before. She had thought it was a joke, but she never thought that it would be true. The maid Binger carefully carried her into a side room and then said to herself with a confused look, "What does a rabbit want to eat? Carrots and vegetables?" Luo Qingshan as a rabbit said in her heart, "I don't want to eat carrots and vegetables. I want to eat meat." She shook her ears, showing that she wasn't willing. But after that, Binger happily said to herself, "I knew you'd like it. I'll go to the kitchen to take a look for you." As expected, humans couldn't see through the hearts of spirit beasts. She didn't want to eat carrots and vegetables. She wanted to eat fish and meat. With this determined heart, when Binger left, she stretched out her 4 limbs and quickly ran towards Di Luo Feng's room in her memories. On the way, she received many gazes. She jumped out and jumped over the door, standing in front of a table of delicacies as her stomach made gulu-gulu sounds. When she was planning on jumping onto the table, Di Luo Feng grabbed her and raised her up to look at him. He narrowed his eyes and said, "Running around with an injured leg. Your wound has split open." Luo Qingshan looked down and saw that the bandage on her right leg was bleeding a bit before her rabbit ears slowly drooped down. Di Luo Feng's lips curled into a faint smile as he said to the housekeeper beside him, "Bring the medical kit over." "Yes, young master." Luo Qingshan forcefully kicked her leg twice before Di Luo Feng slowly put her down in a chair to the side. He looked up and said, "You want to eat this?" Hearing this, her eyes lit up. Its 2 ears flickered, making it look extremely comical. "I know that you are a spirit beast and not a normal rabbit, but..." Di Luo Feng revealed a look of doubt as he said, "Do spirit beast rabbits like to eat chicken, duck, and fish?" Luo Qingshan didn't say anything. She just stretched her two front paws towards the table and looked at the food on the table. Di Luo Feng saw this and couldn't help revealing a faint smile that hadn't appeared in a long time. He came over and softly put her on the table as he said, "Then what do you want to eat?" Luo Qingshun picked up the rabbit claw and grabbed a leg, then ate it with relish. The meat is delicious and springy. Di Luo Feng gave a soft laugh. There was a sparkle in his eyes as he looked at her and said, "So low-level spirit beasts like to eat their own kind." In the next second, Luo Qingshun's movements instantly stiffened. Rabbit leg. Di Luo Feng saw her stop and narrowed his eyes as he said, "Your talent for listening to people is quite high. If she was properly trained, perhaps she could become a divine beast in the future." She awkwardly swallowed the meat in her mouth and wanted to put it back, but she didn't in the end and continued eating. After all, she was a person and not a rabbit. No matter how bad she was just a person wearing the skin of a rabbit. Not to mention that even if she was a rabbit, she was still a spirit beast and not a domestic rabbit. Chapter 444. In the following days, she began a series of plans. How to make the 9th grade Imperial Beast Masters of the 100 Beast Continent believe that a rabbit like her was Luo Qingshun, who had subdued 3 divine beasts with him in the past. The plan was perfect, but it was quite difficult to carry out. Moreover, there were many stumbling blocks. For example, Luo Yingning. This girl really was everywhere. She could see her in the D Manor almost every day. Moreover, since Di Luo Feng gave the order to not see her, she couldn't come in through the door and had to climb the wall. She liked to throw the rabbit Luo Qingshun into a strange corner and ran off to talk to Di Luo Feng. Luo Qingshun could be considered to have understood the true meaning of this phrase. That was what it meant to be cold-faced. Di Luo Feng would pick her up in the corner each time and head off to another place. Then the housekeeper would come forward and stop Luo Yingning. Until one day, Luo Yingning threw her into the water, and she suddenly noticed. In these days in the D Manor, she hadn't learned anything and had become 10 times fatter. She had already gone from a little rabbit to a giant rabbit that was half a foot taller than a person. Luo Qingshun was filled with anger. It was already very pitiful to become a rabbit. Being bullied by a little girl, she couldn't take it. After she was thrown into the water, she used her 2 front claws to grab Luo Yingning. She gave a cry of surprise as she fell into the water, creating a splash. Then, she sank into the water. After all, she was just too heavy. When Luo Qingshun thought that this world was over, there was an azure glow that surrounded her. With a pung sound, she flew out of the water and landed in Di Luo Feng's embrace. Di Luo Feng slightly knit his brows, as if it was very hard for him to hold her. Luo Yingning was saved by the housekeeper. Seeing her trembling appearance, Luo Qingshun was filled with joy, bullying this treasure for being a rabbit. Come. Returning to Di Luo Feng's room, he took a large towel and slowly helped her dry herself. While wiping, he muttered to himself in confusion. As a spirit beast, no matter how low level it is, it should have its own special abilities. But why is it that other than gaining weight, you haven't evolved at all? Di Luo Feng's words almost made her cry. Looking in the mirror beside her, she was already so fat that she didn't look like a rabbit at all. He wondered what kind of breed it was. It was neither fish nor fowl, and it was ugly. How could he be so fat and so ugly? Di Luo Feng lazily leaned against the bed and looked at her as he said, "I wonder if we were still in the other shore Forgotten River. Would the rabbit in her hand be as big as you?" Hearing this, Luo Qingshun's fat body moved, and its 2 ears drooped. The other shore Forgotten River, what a distant yet familiar name. After being a rabbit for so long, she seemed to have forgotten that she was once a Tier 9 beast master revered by everyone in the 100 Beast Continent. The next second, he raised his head and touched her ear. "You still have to learn something. To evolve a special ability, one had to fight." This was the so-called awakening through fighting. The next morning, Luo Qingshun was still sleeping when Di Luo Feng carried her to the yard. He waved his right hand, and the snow mastiff came out from behind him. With a roar, the blue sky suddenly changed color. Chapter 445. System. Luo Qingxun's first reaction was to call the system. After all, seeing the snow mastiff looking like it wanted to swallow her for breakfast, her little heart was filled with panic. The system can't help the host at all. Di Luo Feng just wants to help the host awaken the skills of a low-grade spirit beast. Damn, what skills can I awaken? The host is an ugly and fat rabbit that only knows how to eat. You can't awaken any skills at all. So angry. Although she wanted to argue with the system, she had to take care of the biggest problem in front of her first, the snow mastiff. If it wasn't for Di Luo Feng taking care of its weakness in the beast mound, she wouldn't have been able to do anything as a 9th-grade Imperial Beast Master. Wasn't this asking for her death? The snow mastiff charged at her, and the youth beside it was surrounded by azure light, waiting to make a move at the last moment. As for the rabbit Luo Qingxun, she tightly closed her eyes. Their ears stood erect, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. When the snow mastiff was several meters away from her, it actually bent down and softly rolled around in front of her. This scene not only stunned Luo Qingxun, even Di Luo Feng, standing on the side, who had been silent for a long time, had a sparkle in his eyes. The number 1 divine beast of the 100-beast continent was actually doing this to a low-grade rabbit. Acting cute. The Qing word on the snow mastiff's head was faintly discernible. When she saw that word, her eyes became wet. After that, Di Luo Feng raised his right hand, and the surrounding blue light flickered as the snow mastiff slowly left. With each step it took, it would turn back. Finally, it disappeared into the depths of the manor. I think that you probably can't awaken any skills. Di Luo Feng's eyes were a bit stunned as he said, if she saw you, she would definitely find you very cute. As an Imperial Beast Master, this was his first time seeing a spirit beast that didn't know any skills. The most important thing was that the snow mastiff wouldn't attack her. Perhaps in the underworld, some things were destined. The next morning, when Luo Qingxun was still basking in the sun lazily by the window, and Xiao Yu from the Celestial Palace suddenly came to the Emperor Mansion. To be honest, and Xiao Yu, as a supporting male character, was the one she hated the least after experiencing so many worlds, because his appearance rate was really too low. Senior brother, how have you been recently? And Xiao Yu didn't seem to have changed. He was still dressed in white, and the mole at the corner of his eye was particularly eye-catching. Di Luo Feng said with a soft nod. Did Master have you come? And Xiao Yu shrugged and said, You're amazing. You guessed it right. If you have something to say, say it. Di Luo Feng's eyes revealed a trace of anxiety. It was time to eat. That rabbit should be hungry. And Xiao Yu made a gesture and said, 2 things. If you keep hemming and hawing, I'm leaving. Don't. And Xiao Yu hurriedly grabbed his hand and said, I'll talk. He cleared his throat and continued. The first thing is that there have been strange movements in the beast mound. You also know that the beast mound is suppressing a heavenly beast that can't be tamed, the Emperor contract. I'll personally go take a look in a few days. He walked over to where Luo Qingxun was basking in the sun, while saying, the second thing? Wah, such a large rabbit. Di Luo Feng narrowed his cold eyes and looked at him. He quickly returned to the main topic. It's related to your marriage with the Luo family's 3rd young miss. Master's meaning is that you can break off the engagement. After a while, his calm, as ice voice slowly sounded. We'll discuss it another day. If he broke off the engagement, wouldn't the only thought his heart be shattered? Chapter 446. And Xiao Yu saw that the situation was a bit awkward, so he scratched his head and said with a smile, when senior brother goes to the beast mound, do you need to bring me along? I'm your helper. No need, he said with a soft snort. I don't need someone to help me. Senior brother. And Xiao Yu's pride was hurt, and he said with an aggrieved look, no matter what, I am still a 7th-grade Imperial Beast Master. There are many people who worship me. When you reach the 9th grade, we'll go together. He slowly picked up the fat rabbit with a lonely look in his eyes. He was finally standing on the high ground, but he was so lonely. It was like there was no one in this world who could share his joy. Senior brother. There's only one Luo Qingxun in this world. Don't think about it. And Xiao Yu instantly realized that he had said something wrong and quickly apologized. I'm sorry, senior brother. What he didn't know was that when he said those 3 words that he hadn't said in a long time, that rabbit and that youth were both stunned at the same time. After a while, he said, "There's nothing else. You can go back. Senior brother, we haven't seen each other in so long. You're not letting me stay for a night?" And Xiao Yu said with a wide smile, "I want to." Ayo. After that, the snow-white snow mastiff ran over from the side, looking in Xiao Yu with a stern look. "Stop, go. I'll go now, all right?" And Xiao Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and ran off without a trace. After a while, his cold voice slowly sounded, "Let's eat first." Luo Qingshun followed behind him. Seeing the loneliness in his tall back, she couldn't help feeling a bit uncomfortable. He seemed to miss her very much. Indeed, he missed her very much, almost crazily missing her. When they came to the dining room, Luo Qingshun saw that silly girl, Luo Yingning. Since they fell into the water that day, she hadn't come in a long time. Now that she was here, it definitely wasn't anything good. Big brother Luo phone. Luo Yingning happily came forward to grab his arm when she saw him. "I've heard that father has already promised you that you won't marry my little sister lying in bed. Then, can you marry me?" Luo Yingning's words had completely changed Luo Qingshun's views. Was it because Di Luo Feng's rejection wasn't thorough enough, or did this person not understand the meaning behind her words? "Miss Luo, do you not understand what I'm saying, or is there really something wrong with your brain?" Di Luo Feng said with a cold snort. "I would rather marry the Luo family's 3rd young miss who has been bedridden for 6 years than marry you. Is this clear enough? Is it direct enough?" Luo Qingshun heard this and shouted in her heart, "Damn, Di Luo Feng." This sentence was too cool. Sure enough, they had a tacit understanding. Rejection was the best protection for the other side, although she didn't see how much Di Luo Feng wanted to protect Luo Yingning. But at the very least, a simple and comprehensive rejection could save a lot of unnecessary trouble. Humph! Yi Yingning covered her face as she cried, "I will definitely make you marry me." Luo Qingshun, who was a rabbit, shook her ears twice as her eyes filled with happiness. Yi Yingning saw that her ears were shaking, so she picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at her. But after that, an azure light accurately blocked her, and the stone was sent flying in the opposite direction. Pump! It hit Yi Yingning's head. You broken rabbit." She gritted her teeth and angrily stomped her foot. "I will definitely let you go." After saying this, she turned to run out of the D manor. Di Luo Feng knit his brows and said to the maid beside him, "Send people to guard the walls from this day forth. Don't let her in." Chapter 447. After eating lunch, Luo Qingshun leaned her head against Di Luo Feng's stomach, enjoying the watermelon that Bing had brought over. Di Luo Feng was seriously reading the Imperial Beast book, looking very serious. It seemed like Di Luo Feng was a very hard-working person, not like her. Oh no, not like the previous host. As a 9th grade Imperial Beast Master, the previous host relied on her talent and battle skills to reach the top. She really couldn't remember what books the previous host had read. It had to be said, Di Luo Feng's seriously reading was very charming. It was so charming that her 2 large ears happily swayed on his stomach. "Giant rabbit, what was this situation? Can you not randomly give people nicknames?" Moreover, this name didn't sound good at all. She suddenly stood up and looked at him with an angry look on her face. Normally speaking, low-level spirit beasts can't understand human speech, not to mention that you are a spirit beast with low talent. After saying this, Di Luo Feng paused, as if he was correcting himself before continuing. "No, it should be said that since I became an Imperial Beast Master, I have never seen a spirit beast with such low talent." Dong! Luo Qingshun angrily stomped her back foot, and the entire bed trembled. Rabbits would only do 3 things when they were angry: stomp their feet, dig the ground, and bite people. She was doing the first step. Di Luo Feng's brows relaxed when he saw this, and there was a deep sparkle in his eyes as he said, "You are the complete opposite of her." He knew since he was young that the Northern faction had an Imperial Beast Master with high talent. He didn't believe it at that time. In his eyes, Imperial Beast Masters did need talent, but without hard work, it was impossible for them to become anything. When he was 10, in order to seal the Emperor Beast, the Northern and Southern faction masters had temporarily stopped fighting and worked together to fight the enemy. It was also in that year that he saw her in a hurry. At that time, in the Southern faction, she was playing in a sea of flowers. With a raise of her hand, the light around her changed endlessly. She advanced 2 levels in just a few seconds. In that moment, he was simply stunned. So it really was possible to rely on talent to advance as an Imperial Beastmaster. It was because of this that his young and frivolous heart was filled with a bit of jealousy. After that, he trained even harder. He wanted to become the youngest level 9 beast tamer on the 100 Beast continent with his own hard work and talent. However, she, who had inherited countless beast taming talents, had advanced to the 9th level a year earlier than him. Memories of the past surfaced in his mind, and his heart grew increasingly lonely. Luo Qingqian saw that he was no longer talking. Just as she was about to lie down, his cool voice sounded again. She's a level 9 beastmaster with endless talent, while you're a giant rabbit beast who doesn't even have the most basic skills other than eating. He gently touched her ear and said with a smile, "But I don't know why, but I always feel that you and her are too opposite. Instead, you have become a kind of similarity." In the next second, she found a corner, raised her front foot, and started digging. When the cotton in the bed flew all over the sky, Di Luo Feng finally hugged her back. At this moment, she could feel her heart pounding. There was a strange aura on his body, which was slightly cold, making people feel suffocated. He said with a soft laugh, "It can't be that your next step is to bite someone, right?" It seemed like she hadn't seen him smile in a long time, or perhaps it should be said that he hadn't smiled in a long time. It should be because of her. Thinking of this, her heart wasn't that angry anymore. Chapter 448. After a while, Di Luo Feng rubbed her head and muttered, "Giant Rabbit, I have a secret I want to share with you." In these 3 years, there had never been a single person who knew this secret. He had never shared it with anyone. But now, he wanted to share his secret with this rabbit who hadn't learned a single skill. Perhaps he really was too lonely. Or perhaps he really missed her too much. She followed behind him and came to an underground ice cellar. There was a faint azure light at the entrance of the ice cellar, which should be a barrier he had set up. The stairs were circular and made of dark green crystal bricks that extended down. The surrounding temperature became colder and colder until it stopped in front of a crystal door. Di Luo Feng slowly picked up the 2 jugs of wine beside him and walked in. When she came in, Luo Qingqian felt her body heat up like all the blood in her body was boiling. 3 seconds later, she slowly saw that in the center of the large crystal hall, there was an ice coffin. There were crystal cages all around, and there were various spirit beasts inside, including the snow phoenix and the snow qilin. Luo Qingqian was naturally very familiar with these spirit beasts because she had tamed them when she was a 9th grade Imperial Beast Master. Since ancient times, spirit beasts recognized masters. If their masters died, it was hard for the spirit beasts to live, unless there was a kind-hearted person who adopted them. But even if they adopted them, it was impossible for that person to become their master. After a while, Di Luo Feng's slightly sad voice came from the air. 3 years, an entire 3 years. Will you come back and fulfill our agreement?" He slightly bent over and carefully fixed the face of the person in the ice coffin. Every action was incomparably serious. He raised his hand and softly stroked the face of the girl in the ice coffin, as a faint mist appeared in his deep eyes. There was an ancient saying, "A serious man will always be the most handsome in this world." His lips were slightly pursed, and his white as snow skin was almost as cold as the ice around him. There was a faint glow in his dark eyes, and he had a face that could never be forgotten. Luo Qingqian took 2 steps forward and stood in front of the ice coffin. Looking at the person in the ice coffin, she took a step back in fear. He actually brought her body back. No wonder he didn't return to the Celestial Palace and instead build a mansion in Wuhan City. So it was because of this ice room. Scared? He glanced sideways at her, who was now a rabbit. His eyes were filled with indifferent despair as he softly said, "If I had known that I would love her so much back then, I definitely wouldn't have broken the enchantment of the other shore forgotten river, because at least she was inside." Luo Qingchun never thought that when it became a rabbit, it would hear Di Luo Feng's affectionate confession. She felt her heart skip a beat. She really didn't understand him. She had always thought that he was just competitive and used her as a stumbling block on his path to becoming a familiar. Even though his favorability towards her was constantly increasing, she couldn't seem to see that he liked her on the surface. But seeing Di Luo Feng like this, she suddenly remembered how he anxiously said, "Don't come over," back in the Jadewood County. She remembered how he was a step ahead of her in the Beast Mound, only protecting her from being hurt. But now, he actually brought her corpse back for an obsession that no one could understand. Before she could react, Di Luo Feng's hands were already on the ice coffin as he softly kissed that pale face and those lips that didn't have any blood in them. Her lashes trembled slightly, and her breathing stopped as she turned around. Chapter 449. Luo Qingchun felt a Wang sound in her head as it instantly went blank. Almost at the same time, all the spirit beasts in the cages excitedly cried out, "Pung!" After that, all the spirit beasts charged out of their cages. Only then did Di Luo Feng stop kissing the girl in the ice coffin. He slightly knit his brows as his deep eyes sparkled, penetrating the layers of defenses and entering the depths of her eyes. In that instant, the spirit beasts all charged at the fat giant rabbit at the same time. They formed a circle and crawled on the ground. In the center of their brows, there was a faint Qing word. Di Luo Feng looked at the rabbit in front of him in disbelief before looking at the girl in the ice coffin. His slender fingers slightly trembled. His lips slightly pursed as he softly said. Di Luo Feng saw this, and with a wave of his right hand, he sent all the spirit beasts back into their cages. Luo Qingchun kicked off and ran off. This feeling was very strange, and it was quite strange. Before she even ran halfway, she was tightly hugged by Di Luo Feng behind her. His embrace trembled a bit, and his cool breath fell onto her furry ears, making her heart skip a beat. "Don't run. Don't run." His cool voice slowly sounded as he whispered in an excited and trembling voice, "It's good that you're back. No matter what you become, it's good that you're back." Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 80%. In the end, he knew her identity. She suddenly felt that being a giant rabbit by his side was wronging him, but Di Luo Feng didn't seem to care at all. From then on, the D Manor became the rabbit's home. He built a new room that was covered in plush carpets and filled with decorations of carrots and vegetables. That's right, he even had Binger go to the tailor shop to make many clothes for her. There were all kinds and all kinds. According to Di Luo Feng, she felt that as a 9th grade Imperial Beastmaster, she didn't even have clothes after turning into a rabbit. How pitiful. Today, Luo Qingchun was wearing a custom-made large red rabbit robe, sunbathing in the D Manor's garden. As a giant rabbit without any awakening, her position in the D Manor was above 10,000 people. The 10,000 people naturally included the D Manor's boss, Di Luo Feng. In the past, it was always Binger who brought her fruits, food, and toys. Now it was young Master D who was personally giving it to her. Moreover, he was overjoyed and felt that it was a very happy thing. "Luo, giant rabbit, with such a big son, aren't you afraid of heat stroke?" Di Luo Feng came over and held an umbrella, as his eyes filled with gentleness. Luo Qingchun softly shook her head, and her ears perked up as she jumped into Di Luo Feng's embrace. Di Luo Feng firmly caught it with a single hand, and his brows relaxed. He quickly threw away the umbrella in his hand and switched to holding it with both hands. At this moment, Luo Qingchun laughed heartily in her heart. "Who asked you to call me a giant rabbit? It really is big." Di Luo Feng gave a soft laugh as he carried her into the room. Along the way, he kept muttering to himself. When he passed by the housekeeper and Binger, he received a look of disbelief from them. There were two things that they couldn't believe. One, the normally cold and aloof young Master D had suddenly become this talkative. Two, Why did he like talking to this super fat rabbit? Of course, no one dared to offend this rabbit. Since Di Luo Feng learned of Luo Qingqian's identity, he never went to the ice room again. But he never thought that he would be so excited that he would forget to close the door that night. Chapter 450. That evening, the sky was dark red. It was like there was something bad that was about to happen. She was lazily lying on the plush carpet, but her eyes were sparkling as she looked at the dark red sky. Di Luo Feng came in with several cherries and said, "There's no watermelon today." Luo Qingqian didn't turn and kept looking at the sky. Di Luo Feng nodded when he saw this. "Master has already sent a letter. I'll go to the Beast Mound tomorrow." She turned her head and her two front paws fell onto his leg, as her furry ears softly rubbed against him. Although she couldn't speak, she wanted to express her thoughts. She wanted to go. After a while, Di Luo Feng seemed to understand what she meant and softly stroked her ear. "Sorry, I can't bring you." Luo Qingqian suddenly jumped out of his embrace and heavily stomped her back foot. Di Luo Feng looked at her with a pampering gaze. He picked up the scissors beside him and carefully cut her long nails while saying in a soft voice, "Relax, nothing will happen." Pung! Luo Qingqian stomped her foot again. A soft glow flashed in Di Luo Feng's eyes as he said with a faint smile, "Tell me, if I can become a giant rabbit, how good would that be?" After that, Luo Qingqian felt her body tremble, and even her breathing became a bit fast. Di Luo Feng seemed to be very interested in becoming a spirit beast. She quietly lay beside him, allowing him to gently cut her nails and comb her hair. She thought in her heart, she had to go tomorrow. It was a pity that she never would have thought that Di Luo Feng would use the sleeping incense. When she woke up again, it was already noon of the next day. Beast Mound? How could she go to the Beast Mound? With her speed, it wouldn't even take half a month. Host, you have the system. You becoming a giant rabbit doesn't mean you can't use exchange points. Right? System. I still have 1900 exchange points, right? Yes, host. I want to exchange for teleportation. Right now? Ding! 500 exchange points has been taken. Successfully exchanged for teleportation. One-time use. In the next second, Luo Qingqian appeared in the Beast Mound. The sky was dark red, and a chilly wind was raging in the sky. Di Luo Feng stood in the air as the azure ink orb in his hand released layers of azure light. Shwe! Beside him roared out, and the world changed color. The Beast Mound was like an erupting volcano. Layers of cracks appeared at the bottom of the mound. The sky was dark and gloomy, and the air was filled with killing intent. In an instant, the Emperor contract of the celestial beast broke through the enchantment. The evil aura was incomparably heavy, and the smell of blood enveloped the entire Beast Mound. He closed his eyes, and the azure ink pearl in his hand emitted a green light. In an instant, all the spirit beasts in the Beast Mound were summoned and surrounded the Emperor's contract. Illo! The Emperor's contract roared. Shadowless figures intertwined, and dust flew everywhere. Countless spirit beasts in the surroundings could not withstand this powerful force and retreated. Only the snow mastiff. It was almost bathed in blood as it fought fiercely with this ancient heavenly beast. Instantly, Di Luo Feng raised his right hand and called it back. He went up to meet them alone. It was because he didn't want this number one divine beast that had two masters at the same time to be sacrificed here. Inside, there were her memories. After that, the Emperor's contract seemed to feel the smell of blood. It roared into the sky and attacked in Di Luo Feng's direction. It knew that without the help of Luo Qingqian, who was also a 9th grade Imperial Beast Master, he couldn't seal this heavenly beast. He looked up and gripped the azure ink orb in his hand. There was a faint smile on his lips as he muttered, "I can't seal you, so I'll die with you." Chapter 451. She already couldn't remember how she charged forward. She just knew that the red and green light had hit the other side at the same time. She kicked off with her legs and blocked in front of Di Luo Feng. There was a rain of flames in the sky that burned the ground. Di Luo Feng's hands were trembling as he held the giant rabbit covered in blood. Looking at the blue sky, his heart was as silent as ashes. This scene was so familiar, it was like she had done the same thing 3 years ago. Luo Qingshan felt that the moment she charged forward, her eyes turned dark, and she didn't know anything. She could hear his heart-rending cry in her ears. "Don't die, I beg you, don't die. Let's go back to Other Shore Village together. I could be with a rabbit every day. I really am happy. Can you come back? I beg you." Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 90%. At the same time, the young girl in the ice room opened her eyes. Her lips curled into a faint smile. The divine beasts in the cages around her were all hostile, but they didn't dare move forward. The young girl's figure swayed, and she walked out of the ice room. Everyone in the D Manor was surprised when they saw her. They didn't know who she was or where she came from. "When your young master comes back, naturally I'll tell you." She flicked her sleeve and said with a smile in her eyes, "Prepare some good food. We'll wait for the young master to come back." Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, but no one replied. "Why aren't you going yet?" The young girl's eyes turned cold as she angrily roared out. In the evening, Di Luo Feng came back to the D Manor like a zombie. He held the rabbit covered in blood, and his eyes were filled with despair, until he saw the young girl in a white dress sitting in the dining hall. His eyes turned red, and he stood there in a daze. When the young girl saw this, she quickly came forward to hug him and whispered in his ear, "I'm back." Di Luo Feng trembled. He never thought that she would wake up, and he never thought that the young girl in the ice room would return to his side. But why was it that at this moment, he didn't want to let go of the rabbit in his arms? The girl frowned slightly and pursed her lips. "I've woken up. Are you unhappy?" Di Luo Feng raised his hand, and his slender fingers slid across her cheek as he said, "You're back." "Yes, I'm back." She nodded with a smile and looked at the rabbit in his hand with disdain. "This rabbit is no longer important. Bury it." Di Luo Feng was a bit surprised. After a long while, he said, "Let's talk about it in a few days." He didn't know why, but at this moment his heart should have been excited, but for some reason he didn't feel as happy as he did that day outside the ice room. He unconsciously hugged the rabbit in his hand tightly, and his gaze was a little messy. The person standing in front of him was indeed Luo Qingshan, the one who was a Tier 9 Beastmaster just like him. But why was it that when he looked at the face that appeared in his dreams every night, he felt so unfamiliar deep down in his heart? Don't just stand there." She gently took his hand and said, "Let's eat first." A look of dissatisfaction flashed in the young girl's eyes. It was as if Di Luo Feng's reaction was different from what she imagined. Chapter 452. After dinner, he had Banger prepare a room for the young girl. The young girl was a bit unhappy, but she didn't dare show it. She thought that she could live in the same room as him. She thought that after doing all this, she could finally become his most important person. But she never thought that she wouldn't even be as high as a rabbit, even if it was a dead rabbit. That night, Di Luo Feng didn't sleep at all. He seriously bathed the large rabbit and changed it into the new clothes he didn't have time to give her yet. Where the rabbit's ears were, there was a faint azure glow. This was personally made by him. As long as she wore it, she would be able to hear his voice from far away. It was a pity that she couldn't wear it when she was a rabbit. In the middle of the night, there were few stars, and there was a crescent moon hanging in the sky. He came to the ice room alone. There were still spirit beasts that she had tamed in the cages around her. He knit his brows as he revealed a bit of doubt. As an Imperial Beast Master, the most important thing was her spirit beasts. And the first thing she did when she woke up wasn't to let them out of the cages. He held the rabbit and carefully walked up the stairs. He leaned over and placed it in the ice coffin where she had been sleeping. Because the rabbit was very big, it was almost completely filled. He closed his eyes, and his lashes trembled. The most painful thing in life was losing the person you love the most, and he had suffered it twice. It was a good thing that the young girl was awake. Although it was very strange, she still came back. Holding this hope, he felt that he could still live. The next morning, the young girl was already waiting for him in the dining hall, preparing breakfast for him. Her eyes were very beautiful, but they were a bit dead. They were beautiful, but not lively. "That," she softly called out to him. "I seem to have slept for a long time. There are many things that I don't remember. There were some things that had to be said first. Otherwise, if he asked in the future, it would be hard to lie. Di Luo Feng softly replied, as his heart filled with depression. He couldn't help feeling depressed. Are you unhappy? She saw that he didn't have much energy, so her brows slightly furrowed. Her eyes were moist as she pretended to be wronged and said, If you think it's inconvenient for me to stay here, I can leave. No. He looked up and saw that her eyes were red. He said softly, I might not have recovered from the Beast Mound incident. Was he too nervous? Even when she woke up in the ice room and stood in front of him, he couldn't show any joy. The young girl saw the flicker in his eyes and was overjoyed. That's all in the past. Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, don't be sad. Di Luo Feng heard this, and his heart trembled. How long has it been since I heard her call out these 4 words? I vaguely remember that it was the dreamland Xue Qilin created for them when they were in the other shore Forgotten River. It was a dream that he was unwilling to wake up from for the rest of his life. At this moment, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. It was truly painful. Rest early. Do you know what my greatest wish is? She pursed her lips and said, I want to marry you. Now that I'm no longer a 9th grade Imperial Beast Master and I don't have any Imperial Beast skills, do you dislike me? She bit her lips as sparkling and translucent tears fell from her eyes. Dita, they fell onto the back of her hand. In order to use this body, she had done too many things. Chapter 453. Di Luo Feng looked at her for a while before finally looking away and slowly saying, All right. Back then, they had fought side by side to subdue the 3 divine beasts. But now, in order to save him, she had lost all her abilities. No matter how strange his heart felt, he wasn't qualified to reject her. On the 5th of October, the 9th grade Imperial Beast Master Di Luo Feng married Luo Qingchen from the Jade House Terrace. When this news came out, it shocked the entire Imperial Beast world. And Xiaoyu immediately rushed to the D Manor, wanted to see what Luo Qingchen looked like when she woke up. Also, he missed that rabbit a bit. Without knowing why, he had a special feeling of liking that rabbit as soon as he saw it, even if it was fat, ugly, and seemed to be useless. Perhaps it was because it was ugly and fat that it seemed even more cute. Inside the study, Di Luo Feng picked up his pen and drew a picture. The girl in the picture was standing in the air with a white and gold glow in her hand. In front of her was the 4th divine beast of the 100 Beast continent, the Snow Phoenix. And Xiaoyu came forward and said in a surprised voice, Senior brother, you've never been to the Inkard Forest. How could you draw that scene? He said this while saying, Moreover, I was there. Why didn't you draw me? Di Luo Feng heard this and gave a slight nod before casually drawing a few strokes in the lower right corner of the picture. A simple character half kneeling on the ground appeared. Senior brother. And Xiaoyu said with an angry look, I'm clearly very handsome. How could I be this scared? That's what she said. Di Luo Feng had a faint, gentle look on his face. It was as if there was a deep corner of his heart that was filled with strong memories. Have you ever asked your junior brother what he did when he subdued the Snow Phoenix in the Inkard Forest? That year, they met for the first time. That year, she was still the 9th grade Imperial Beast Master who could release white light with a wave of her hand. And Xiaoyu saw that he was a bit stunned and asked in a confused voice, Senior brother, you're not happy? Properly speaking, Luo Qingchen was the pain and regret of his life. Now that she had come back from the dead and returned to his side, he should be very happy. But why didn't he see any joy on his face at all? No. He forced a smile and said, I'm quite happy. He said something that even he himself didn't believe, bitterly holding on to that shallow obsession. Forget it. I don't understand senior brother's world. And Xiaoyu shrugged and said, Where's that big rabbit from last time? Why don't I see it? After that, Di Luo Feng's pen trembled, and there was an extra stroke on the head of the girl in the painting. Why are you so nervous? It's a good painting, and it's ruined by you. And Xiaoyu smiled and said, Are you unhappy because you like the rabbit more? And Xiaoyu swore from the bottom of his heart. What I just said is complete nonsense. It has no meaning. However, his senior brother seemed to have heard every single word he said. But in an instant, Di Luo Fong suddenly looked up and a faint sparkle appeared in his eyes as he said, "What did you just say?" "Senior brother." And Xiao Yu scratched his head and said in a daze, "I didn't say anything. I think that you're too nervous because you're about to get married." In an instant, it was like Di Luo Feng was possessed by a painting god as he drew 2 ears on the head of the girl in the painting. Large rabbit ears. In an instant, he stopped writing and stood up, flying toward the ice room. Chapter 454. Inside the ice cellar, the giant rabbit was still lying there quietly, its 2 ears drooping down softly. It seemed a little cold and also a little tired. He slightly raised his right hand, and a faint green light gently circled around its ears. His slender fingers firmly pressed on the ice coffin. Leaning over, he kissed it. His slightly cold voice resounded throughout the ice room. "I'll wait for you to come and steal the bride." Ah! Luo Qingchun suddenly opened her eyes, waking up from her dream. She only felt that her whole body was sore, and her bones were about to fall apart. It was very uncomfortable. Quang dang. In the next second, the water basin fell to the ground. The orange-clothed little girl in front of her exclaimed, "Third Miss is awake. Someone come quickly, Third Miss is awake." In an instant, Luo Manor was boiling, and everyone crazily rushed into her room. The doctor carefully examined her body and looked at Madame Luo beside him. "Mrs. Pulse is very stable, and her mental state is also very good. There shouldn't be any big problems." Qing er. Madame Luo almost immediately burst into tears and looked at her and said, "Your sister is missing, and you're awake." This big ups and downs made Mother's heart. What kind of sin did the Luo family commit to have such an unforeseen event? Qing sister, Luo, family. Luo Qingchen expressed that at this moment, her mind was confused, and her face was full of confusion, okay? In the next second, she looked down at her jade-like hands, and her heart dropped a big stone. Fortunately, it's a person. After half an hour, the little girl beside her called Xiao Dai, under her indirect questioning, told her everything she wanted to know. This time, her identity was really awesome. Wuhan City's Luo Manor's third miss. She had heard of this name 3 years ago. It was very familiar. A waste of a young miss who was in a coma for 6 years. So she was waiting for her. "Miss, you don't remember anything. What should we do?" Xiao Dai seemed to be a little sad. "You just woke up, and the future son-in-law broke off the engagement. Xiao Dai feels sorry for you." "What? Broke off the engagement?" Luo Qingshun narrowed her eyes and said, "Future son-in-law? No, it's not son-in-law anymore." Xiao Dai thought she had said something wrong, so she quickly apologized. "Sorry, young miss. No. The future son-in-law you're talking about." She looked up, and her lips curled into a faint smile. Di Luo Feng. Young miss still remembers? Xiao Dai was obviously very surprised. Her family's young miss had only heard of this son-in-law's name before, but had never seen him before. Luo Qingchun, Luo Qingchun. Luo Qingchun, Luo Qingchun, Luo Qingchun. Luo Qingchun was Luo. He broke off the engagement because he wanted to convert to Buddhism? Luo Qingchun gave a soft laugh as a gentle sparkle appeared in her eyes. Luo. Luo, oh Luo. Oh Luo. Luo. Oh Luo. Oomph. Xiao Dai snorted. "Of course not. He's marrying someone else." "What?" Luo Qingchun was shocked. She jumped out of bed and said, "Who is he marrying? How could he fall in love this quickly? This treasure isn't dead yet, all right? It said that it's a 9th grade Imperial Beast Master of the 100 Beast Continent. She has the same name as the young miss, also called Luo Qingche. The corpse in the ice coffin? It's a moving corpse." Chapter 455. At the same time, in the D Manor, in the silent night, a young girl was sitting in front of a bronze mirror, tidying up the phoenix coronet that had just been delivered today. There were only 7 days left until the 5th of October. In just 7 days, her greatest wish in this life would come true. She would be able to marry the person she loved the most and be by his side forever. She slowly combed her hair, and after that, the wooden comb fell to the ground. There was a faint trace of blood on her white cheeks that spread bit by bit. Ah! She was shocked, and her face instantly lost all color. There was a half-man, half-woman soul that spoke to her in her mind. You want to become her? I can help you. That day, she wanted to head to the D Manor in the middle of the night to see her big brother Luo Feng, who she hadn't seen in a long time. She never thought that she would find an ice cellar. Outside the ice cellar, she saw Di Luo Feng tightly hugging the rabbit she hated with incomparably gentle and loving eyes. This kind of gaze, even she had never seen it before. A fat rabbit. How could it? After that, her eyes fell onto the ice cellar behind them. She walked down the stairs step by step, and in a large ice room, she found a crystal ice coffin. There were terrifying spirit beasts around her, but it was a good thing she was locked in a cage, so she didn't panic. She walked up the crystal stairs step by step and stopped in front of the ice coffin. There was a white-clothed girl lying inside with her eyes tightly closed and her face without any blood. But her hair and clothes were very neat, so there must be someone who came to take care of them. That person, could it be Di Luo Feng? And the person lying here, who was it? Luo Yingning took a deep breath as her eyes turned deep. At this time, there was an evil, charming laugh that came from around her. She took 2 steps back in fear as her face turned pale. Who? Who? Don't be sneaky here. This is the D Manor. Oh, that person's laugh changed even more. With a half-man, half-woman voice, the voices alternated. I am from the underworld. I'm a messenger of hell. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Luo Yingning hugged her head in fear, and her body trembled as she said, Don't come over. If you come over, I'll call for help. Ha ha. The half-man, half-woman's soul continued to laugh. I'm here to help you. Aren't you going overboard by chasing me away? 3 years ago, in the Beast Mount, her 2 spiritual souls and 6 physical souls were scattered by Luo Qingchen, leaving only 1 spiritual soul and 1 physical soul wandering in the world. Can't live, can't die. It took her 3 years to collect all of her spiritual and physical souls, but she couldn't do anything about it. Now, the woman in front of her seemed to have given her a chance to take revenge on this body. Even if she could only take revenge on this body, she, Yuruashui, was still willing. Help! Help me! Luo Yingning's eyes sparkled. She took a deep breath and tried to control the fear in her heart as she said, What can you help me with? Do you know who is lying here? Yuruashui floated in the air, her eyes filled with anger. I don't know. The person lying here is the most powerful imperial beast master of the 100 Beast Continent. Oh no, it should be the most powerful imperial beast master of the past. Yuruashui said with an excited laugh. It's a pity that I killed him. You. Luo Yingning was clearly very surprised as her face filled with disbelief. Chapter 456. In the end, Luo Yingning reached an agreement with this neither male nor female soul. She would give her body to her, and she would help her become the owner of this body. The method used was soul-locking buckle. It said that this thing came from the underworld. It was a kind of thing that could store one's soul in a dead body. But to maintain it for a long time, one had to suck a woman's blood to maintain it. Luo Yingning thought that since this corpse was someone that Di Luo Feng couldn't forget, if she became like this, wouldn't she be able to obtain his pendant? She revealed a terrifying expression in front of the mirror. She put down the comb and walked out into the streets. The next morning, Marshall City fell into a panic. A brothel girl had her blood sucked dry and died on the street with a white body. Such a terrifying and strange death. It made people's hearts tremble just looking at it. For a while, everyone was filled with panic. When Di Luo Feng heard this, he also went out to take a look. When he came back, his expression was very serious. Young master, you're back. Bing anxiously said, Miss Luo has been worried the entire morning, afraid that something happened to you. Quickly go and take a look. Di Luo Feng replied before heading to the young girl's room. But he didn't know that as soon as he opened the door, she came over and tightly hugged him as she said, Big brother Luo Feng, I heard that there was a girl who had her blood sucked out on the street yesterday. I'm afraid. Di Luo Feng slightly knit his brows. Seeing her push him, a different emotion flashed in his eyes as he said, It should be a revenge murder. The government has already filed a case, but we still need to wait for the autopsy. Everyone says that it's a ghost. The young girl lowered her head and deliberately said this, wanting to hear the other side's reply. After all, last night was her first time committing a crime. Although it went very smoothly, she was still afraid that something would be left behind. Di Luo Feng said, "How could there be that many ghosts in this world? It's just the words of the common people. There's no need to be so serious." The young girl heard this, and her lips curled as she said, "With Big Brother Luo Feng here, I'm not afraid. Rest early." After saying this, he narrowed his eyes and turned to leave. The young girl wanted to pull him back, but she hesitated a bit. After all, she still had to continue tonight, so it was better not to speak too much or she would be exposed. At night, the streets were deserted. A chilly wind blew past, and the fallen leaves swirled in the air. On this quiet night, there was a sense of bloodthirsty, killing intent. Luo Yingning was wearing a black robe as she walked on the road. She was very vigilant, looking around with every step, until she saw a woman in pink sitting in a pavilion not far away. The woman seemed to be crying. Her voice sounded like a man's, but not a woman's. Luo Yingning didn't hear it clearly, but she silently went behind her and opened her mouth. In the next second, the man quickly turned his head. Her red lips curled up as she said, "Sir, you want to see me?" With that, and Xiao Yu's dark tomb pearl shook and scratched the back of her hand. Luo Yingning was surprised. She looked away and ran into the dark path. The so-called crying in pink was not a woman at all, but a man with heavy makeup. It seemed like someone wanted to set a trap to catch her. Who was it? Without a second thought, she disappeared into the night as fast as she could. Because Xiao Yu was wearing a skirt, he did not manage to catch up. Chapter 457. Senior brother. That person ran away. And Xiao Yu took a sip of tea and said, "If I wasn't wearing these broken clothes, I definitely would have caught up." Di Luo Feng took a sip of tea and said, "Don't panic. That person will appear again. But she shouldn't be complacent. She was injured by my dark soaring orb, so she shouldn't appear in the near future." And Xiao Yu said with a confident look, "AI, you really are a 7th grade Imperial Beastmaster. You're this good at catching people. No, she will appear again." Di Luo Feng narrowed his eyes and said, "Moreover, she isn't human, because it was impossible for a person to quickly suck blood." Luo Yingning, who didn't succeed that night, the blood on her face was even more obvious. She didn't have time to waste. She had to succeed tomorrow night. Her wedding was coming soon. She couldn't make a single mistake. At the same time, in the Luo manor. "Young miss, everyone has been worried lately. You shouldn't go out at night." Xiao Dai looked like she was about to cry as she crawled by her feet. If the madam knows, Xiao Dai's legs will be gone. Luo Qingshan had a smile on her face as she looked at Xiao Dai lying on the ground and said, "It's like you don't have legs right now." She had been going crazy in the Luo family these days. She didn't know if it was because the Luo family's third miss only woke up after 6 years that her mother couldn't be assured, or if it was because the Luo family's second miss had gone missing that the entire Luo family was worried. In short, she had been watched by the housekeeper around the clock since she woke up, not taking a single step out of the Luo manor. To be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that the situation wasn't urgent and she didn't have much exchange points left, she would have already exchanged for teleportation. "All right. Young miss, I don't care. You can't leave. You can't leave. I just want to take a walk on the streets and come back, all right?" Luo Qingshan spread her hands with a helpless look. Actually, she wanted to go to the D Manor, but that Luo Qingshan wouldn't let her see D Luo Feng. Adding the fact that the Luo family's reputation in the D Manor was too bad, she definitely couldn't go in. Then it wasn't wrong for her to take a walk on the streets. If she kept being locked up, she would simply explode. "All right? If Miss insists on going, you must bring Xiao Dai along." Xiao Dai knew that she could no longer hold on to her thigh, so she settled for the next best thing and came up with a compromise. "Deal." Luo Qingshan nodded in satisfaction. She put on her plush jacket and left Luo Manor through the back door. Initially, he wanted to go shopping, buy some interesting things, and ask about the D residence's wedding. However, He didn't expect that the streets were empty. No, it should be said that there was not even a chicken. A chilly wind blew, and the moonlight dimmed. Miss, I'm scared. Let's go back. Xiaodai pulled her arm and looked around. Her legs were trembling. Luo Qingshun took a deep breath. Her hair stood on end. After a while, she nodded and said, I think your idea is not bad. Let's go back. Logically speaking, ghosts were much scarier than bad people. Whoosh whoosh. Just as they were walking back, a red and black light flashed around them, and a person in black with disheveled hair blocked their path. Xiaodai screamed and fainted on the ground. Truly useless. Luo Qingshun took 2 steps back seeing this and narrowed her eyes to look at the person in front of her. Chapter 458. The black-clothed person in front of her was stunned, and she couldn't help muttering, Third sister. Her cold eyes narrowed, and she didn't care about anything else as she charged at Xiaodai on the ground. Luo Qingshun waved her right hand seeing this. She wanted to ask the system to borrow a divine weapon, but she never thought that with a gentle wave, a white light would send the black-clothed person flying. In the next second, a white light flashed around her body and surrounded her in layers. Her fingers trembled, and the golden orb jumped in her hand. There were 2 large words that appeared, blazing flame. In an instant, the originally pitch-black sky became as bright as day, revealing a faint golden light. Damn, system! What was this situation? The Luo family's 3rd miss was born with the power of a 7th-grade Imperial Beastmaster. But because the 2 elders of the Luo family didn't want her to become this kind of person, they had the Celestial Hall's sect master seal her powers. But the seal couldn't stop the power inside her, and with the clash of the 2 powers, she fell unconscious. So I am now 9th-grade Imperial Beastmaster. Very good, Leave. After that, Luo Qingshun narrowed her cold eyes and looked at the black-clothed person in an imposing manner. What kind of monster are you? Quickly show your true form. The black-clothed person saw that the situation was bad and gritted her teeth before running away. In a corner not far away, a youth was looking at the golden light in the sky with a stunned look in his eyes. 9th grade, Imperial Beastmaster. In Xiao, you saw that Di Luo Feng didn't have any intention of chasing the black-clothed person. Rather, he was looking at the little girl in the light pink dress in a daze. Damn, she ran away again. No rush, she'll show her true form soon. Di Luo Feng slightly raised a brow as his eyes fell onto the young girl, not looking away for a second. Luo Yingning didn't immediately return to the D manor. The blood on her face was becoming more and more obvious, and even the makeup couldn't cover it. She took a step back and sucked the blood of the hen, stopping the blood from spreading too quickly. It was almost her wedding day. There couldn't be any accidents, definitely not. The next morning, the whole Beast Tamer world was in an uproar, because another level 9 Beast Tamer had appeared on the 100 Beast continent, and it was the Luo family's 3rd young miss, who had been in a coma for 6 years. Di Luo Feng heard this and slightly knit his brows. There was a thought-provoking look in his eyes. Senior brother, this is called a miracle, okay? And Xiaoyu said with a face full of admiration, if I have the chance, I really want to meet this Luo family's 3rd miss. Didn't she yesterday, big brother Luo Feng? Luo Yingning came in through the door. She was tightly wrapped up and had a thick layer of makeup, looking a bit haggard. Di Luo Feng softly replied, It's about to be the wedding day, are you prepared? Big brother Luo Feng, I'm ready. She hurriedly touched her face, then smiled and said, Qing Er is looking forward to it. Yes. Di Luo Feng softly replied as he thought of the young girl covered in golden light standing in the darkness last night. Back then, he had even used this person to tease her, saying that he might be forced to marry a useless 3rd miss. At that time, she said that she would steal the bride. Time passed very quickly, and Luo Yingning relied on sucking the blood of the poultry to last until her wedding day. Chapter 459. That drunken memory of that year had been waiting for him for 3 years. October 5th, calm Marshall City. The large red sedan, the sound of gongs, and the streets were filled with strange beasts that were too much for the eyes to take in. The street was filled with whispers. Some were congratulating, some were sighing, and some were puzzled. All of these sounds filled everyone's eardrums. What kind of status does the D Manor have? This wedding is actually this grand. I've heard of it. He is the only ninth grade Imperial Beast Master on the 100 Beast Continent. He really is powerful. Then the girl he's marrying must be very beautiful. When the wind blew, I accidentally saw the bride's face. It looks good, but it's a bit strange. I've heard that young Master D wanted to marry the Luo family's third young miss, but someone beat him to it. The sky was blue and the sun was shining down. Luo Yingning sat in the sedan anxiously as her palms were covered in sweat. The blood vessels on his cheeks had already turned dark and were about to burst out of their sockets. Although the thick powder covered most of it, it couldn't stop the corrosion of the black blood. Faster, faster. As long as they went through the wedding, everything would be better. Di Luo Feng rode his horse in front with a deep look in his eyes. He knew that he was waiting for someone, waiting for her to appear, but he couldn't call out her name or describe her appearance. That golden light kept flashing in his mind, like the light of redemption. After circling around calm Marshall City, the large group stopped at the entrance of the D Manor. The matron of honor waved the large red handkerchief and opened the sedan with a happy look, saying in a loud voice, "The bride comes out of the sedan and crosses the brazier. Good luck." Luo Yingning softly placed her hand on the matron of honor's hand, but she quickly pulled it back into her sleeve, because her hand was already turning black. Her fingernails were covered in dark blood, and her blood vessels kept flowing. She had to immediately suck this girl's blood. Otherwise, not only would she be exposed, she wouldn't be able to keep her life. But right now, in front of everyone, she couldn't do this at all. She gritted her teeth and stepped over the brazier. The matron of honor continued in a loud voice, "Because the groom is the only ninth-tier Imperial Beast Master in our 100 Beast Continent, this wedding is rather special. We must use the heavens as a medium and kowtow to the heavens and earth here." Wow! The surrounding area was filled with noise and excitement. Some low-level spirit beasts that could play musical instruments began to sing. The matron of honor came forward and slowly gave Luo Yingning's hand to Di Luo Feng, standing on the side with his hands crossed. Young Master D. He didn't take it. Instead, he gazed into the distance, searching for that figure. Could it be that this was only his imagination after all? Could it be that she was really dead and would never come back? After a while, Di Luo Feng didn't reach out his hand. When the surrounding commoners saw this, they all looked at each other in dismay. The sound of discussion instantly filled the sky. Luo Yingning gritted her teeth as her heart filled with panic. She was just one step away. As long as she kowtowed to heaven and earth, she would become his bride. His eternal bride. She let go of the bridesmaid's hand and quickly reached out, wanted to grab Di Luo Feng. Little did they know. After that, there was a flash of golden light in the sky. There was a clear and melodious voice that came from the sky. "Imposter, aren't you embarrassed?" The young girl descended from the sky. She was wearing a bamboo-colored magnolia dress. Her skin was fair and translucent, and her eyes were so clear that one could see the bottom. Chapter 460. Isn't this the Luo family's third young miss? Wah! Could it be that she's here to steal the bride? She's so beautiful. The above is the gossip of normal citizens. God, isn't this the Imperial Beast Master who just reached the 9th spiritual level yesterday? She's too young. I'm already this old, and I'm still in the 4th spiritual level. Imperial Beast Masters always look at talent. This girl's talent must be very high. The above is the gossip of Imperial Beast Masters. Luo Qingchun raised her right hand, and the blaze orb in her hand released a golden glow. She looked up at the bride in the red veil and said, "I've heard that you're called Luo Qingchun. What a coincidence, I'm the same." Everyone only knew that she was the Luo family's third young miss, but very few people knew that her name was Luo Qingchun. Because in these past few decades, the Imperial Beast Master of the Imperial Beast World, Luo Qingchun, had been too dazzling. So much so that no one cared about the name of the unconscious person lying on the bed. Luo Yingning, in her red wedding dress, trembled. She instantly moved to Di Luo Feng's side and grabbed his arm. Big brother Luo Feng. I'm afraid. Di Luo Feng was frozen in place. He waved his right hand and threw off Luo Yingning's hand. Standing on the stone steps, he looked at Luo Qingchen in front of him and said, "You are Calm Martial City's Luo Manor's third young miss, Luo Qingchen." She looked up with a faint sparkle in her eyes as her lips curled into a beautiful curve. Young Master Di's marriage partner. When this was said, Di Luo Feng's breathing stopped and a faint mist appeared in his eyes. Finally, she was finally here. It was only at this moment that he realized that everything he had done was worth it. The heavens were so kind to him, and the world was so beautiful. Whoa. Everyone gave a sigh as they revealed looks of shock. To put it bluntly, they were just here to watch the show. You. Luo Yingning, in her wedding dress, behind him trembled. She pointed forward and said, "Who are you? You're actually shameless enough to steal the bride?" Actually, Luo Yingning naturally knew that the person in front of her was her blood-related little sister. Her little sister who was crazy with jealousy. That fiancé who could become the person in her heart while lying on the bed. Why? She refused to accept it. But now that she finally had a chance to obtain Di Luo Feng, her little sister had actually woken up. Moreover, he was so outstanding, who I am is not important. Luo Qingchen raised her eyebrows slightly and snorted. "Who are you? Do you know in your heart?" Her voice was sonorous and forceful, as if she was looking at the person in front of her with an admiring attitude. The Luo family's Luo Yingning's disappearance was close to the time he woke up. Anyone with a bit of brain would be able to think of this. Luo Yingning had used her body, and she had used an unscrupulous method. I am Luo Qingchen. I am Big Brother Luo Feng's wife." Luo Yingning couldn't help shouting as her body couldn't stop trembling. "You can call yourself a wife before even marrying." Her eyes lit up as she said with a faint smile, "Your brain, I'm convinced. You, how can you be this shameless?" Luo Yingning bit her lip and said, "What are you doing here, if not stealing the bride?" Luo Yingning saw that she was at a disadvantage, so she used morals to suppress Luo Qingchen. After all, gossip was a fearful thing. Chapter 461. Luo Yingning never thought that Luo Qingchen would admit it this easily. Moreover, what was with that innocent look? At this moment, it was like her heart was burning and the blood in her body was boiling. It was like she would explode at any moment. She felt very uncomfortable. She wanted to suck human blood. She had to suck human blood. After that, she opened the red veil and attacked Luo Qingchen not far away. Right at this instant, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Exactly what sort of monster is this person whose face is covered in dark red veins? Luo Yingning's face that suddenly appeared scared Luo Qingchen. This idiot actually turned her beautiful face into this. She simply couldn't take it. This mouth had been kissed by Di Luo Feng, all right? Thinking of this, her heart filled with dissatisfaction. After that, with a flick of her sleeve, she easily knocked Luo Yingning to the ground. She didn't approach her at all, but that man who had been frozen in place was standing in front of her first. The azure ink orb was glowing with a faint azure light that was so familiar. He knew that the blaze orb in her hand was a powerful imperial beast. It could easily deal with someone like Luo Yingning who used the soul-locking buckle. But he wasn't willing to take the slightest bit of risk. Twice, he couldn't do a thing when she died in front of him twice. Now that she was back, no matter how strong she was, he would definitely protect her behind him, not allowing a single mistake to happen. Luo Yingning fell to the ground, holding her chest as she looked at Di Luo Feng in front of her with a look of despair. She bit her dark purple lips and said with tears in her eyes, "Big brother Luo Feng, what are you doing? Quickly kill her." Why? Why was Di Luo Feng protecting her little sister? Even if she was the one he was engaged to, he shouldn't be standing in front of her. She was Luo Qingchen. She was the one he loved the most in the secret room. Di Luo Feng heard this and didn't respond at all. He softly held the hand of the person beside him and said in a trembling voice, "You're here to steal the bride, right?" His tone was very soft, with a hint of uncertainty, and he longed for the other party's answer. A long time ago, I made a promise to someone. Her eyes were clear and carefree. She lowered her eyebrows and smiled faintly. If he gets married, I will definitely come and snatch the bride. So you came, AI. Luo Qingxun pretended to sigh lightly. At that time, he told me that he would marry the Luo family's third young miss. Unfortunately, he didn't keep his promise. When everyone heard their conversation, they were all stunned. Even Luo Yingning, lying on the ground, didn't know what was going on. The next second, she roared, I'm Luo Qingxun. She's just the third miss of the Luo family. Brother Luo Feng, don't listen to her nonsense. I know very well who she is. Oh, hearing this, Luo Qingxun chuckled and walked towards her step by step. Why can't you be clearer about this? Because you are my... Luo Yingning bit her lip and said in a trembling voice, I can't see it. She crossed her arms, and her lips curled into a faint smile. You want to say that it's because I'm your little sister, right? Hiss. At this moment, everyone present sucked in a breath of cold air. The Luo family's second young miss had just disappeared. How could it be her? Chapter 462. Luo Yingning desperately shook her head as she muttered, No, I'm not. There's no soul-locking buckle. I am Luo Qingxun. I am... Luo Qingxun was a 9th-grade Imperial Beastmaster of the 100 Beast Continent before she fell unconscious. But you... She raised a brow and looked at Luo Yingning. Can you tame a low-grade spirit beast? She trembled as she stood up and looked at her. I lost my ability, but that doesn't mean I'm not her. She was Luo Qingxun, and she wanted to marry Luo Feng. No one could stop her, no one could. All right. Luo Qingxun gave a soft laugh. She waved the blaze orb in her hand, and golden light filled the sky as she looked at her. I'll make you convinced. After that, spirit beasts from a certain place in the Emperor Manor came out and stood in front of Luo Qingxun. This included the 3rd and 4th beast gods, the Snow Qilin and the Snow Phoenix. The word Qing was faintly reflected between their brows. Luo Yingning bit her lip and continued to argue. You're just relying on your strong abilities to tame spirit beasts. What is there to be surprised about? See, there was another sigh, but this time the sigh came from the Imperial Beastmasters. Spirit beasts were different from humans. They recognized a master by the soul and not by the body. One of the 4th-grade Imperial Beastmasters slowly asked, Do you know that spirit beasts that have been tamed can never change masters? This was something that even a 1st-grade Imperial Beastmaster knew. This person was a 9th-grade Imperial Beastmaster, so it was impossible for her not to know. Luo Yingning was clearly surprised. She kept shaking her head and scratching her face with her nails as she muttered, No, I am Luo Qingxun. You're the fake. Big brother Luo Feng, you have to believe me. There was an indifferent look in Luo Feng's eyes. He looked at Luo Yingning with his cold eyes and said, When you first appeared, I was indeed surprised, but I quickly realized that you weren't her. No. She bit her lips and looked at him. If I wasn't her, why would you let me stay in the Dean Manor? You still love this face, right? I will take good care of this face. I won't let it be like this again. She had sacrificed so much, but in the end, it was all for naught. No, absolutely not. Actually, it's all secondary. After a while, Luo Feng's eyes became gentle, and he softly said, The person I love, I will keep approaching, whether she is a human or a beast. His cool voice entered her ears word by word. It was so affectionate. No. When Luo Yingning shouted out in a heart-rending voice, the sky suddenly filled with dark clouds. An unknown black object descended from the sky and stood beside her. It spoke in a voice that was neither male nor female. You're really useless. You can't even get his heart after using the soul-locking buckle. Trash. She wanted to suck Luo Yingning's blood, but she was bounced back by a golden light. Luo Qingxun's brows twitched and her lips curled into a faint smile as she said, Even if it's a living corpse, it's not something you can touch. You are. That person saw the spirit beasts around the girl, and her eyes filled with fear. Is it very strange? Luo Qingxian gave a soft laugh as she looked at her and said, "My disciple, since you can live, why can't I? You are Luo Qingxian." The half-male and half-female soul trembled as her eyes filled with shock. Chapter 463. At this moment, Yu Ruo Shui's heart was like a giant flame that kept burning. The person in front of her had ruined her life and everything she had, but she could still stand here in such a beautiful manner. Based on what? After that, Yu Ruo Shui roared into the sky. "I am willing to fall for all eternity." Pung pung. Luo Qingxian slightly raised her hand, and her eyes were filled with killing intent. Two powerful golden lights fell onto Yu Ruo Shui's wandering soul, cutting off her female face. Instantly, she only had a male voice left as she cried out in pain. "You were my match when you had the bloodthirsty power in the past." The blaze orb in her hand released layers of golden light as she attacked Yu Ruo Shui. She then added, "Now, you are just as useless as an ant." In an instant, the golden light turned everything into nothingness. Yu Ruo Shui's already weak, wandering soul couldn't take this powerful strength. In an instant, her soul scattered. The scattered black matter condensed into a piece and transformed into a body. Or perhaps it should be said that it was a corpse, Luo Yingning's corpse. Luo Yingning on the side exploded because she didn't have any fresh blood, leaving behind a soul lock from the underworld. Di Luo Feng slightly knit his brows. Seeing that face disappear from this world, his heart couldn't help feeling a bit uncomfortable. Everything that belonged to her, he wanted to cherish and protect it. Luo Qingxian domineeringly took back the blaze orb in her hand and tightly held Di Luo Feng's hand. She seemed to be using a different method to make the man beside her feel assured. "Thank you for coming back." After that, he ignored everyone's gazes and suddenly took her in his embrace, trembling slightly. Burning and warm, Luo Qingxian pursed her lips into a faint smile and said, "Young Master Di, are you satisfied with stealing the bride this time?" Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 100%. It really was the end of the bitterness. The system didn't ask if she wanted to stay in this world, because as long as he was here, she would stay. Di Luo Feng's arms gradually tightened as he muttered in a low voice by her ear, satisfied. "Do you know that I've waited for this day for 3 years? It's finally come for me." He really had waited for too long. He thought that a rabbit like her could stay by his side for a long time, but he never thought that the rabbit would leave him. Luo Qingxian looked at the familiar black mark and couldn't help feeling assured. It was like that man had always been by her side, never leaving her side. "So, are we still holding the wedding?" Luo Qingxian pointed at the bridesmaid and sedan. "Did you prepare a wedding dress for me who came to steal the groom?" Di Luo Feng was surprised. He softly let her go as an awkward look flashed in his eyes. Kuh. Luo Qingxian put her hands on her waist with a dissatisfied look. "You said you would wait for 3 years. You didn't even prepare this. Young Master, Di's your sincerity." His eyes were filled with deep indulgence, and the corner of his mouth raised. "Your Highness Qinga, I have prepared it, but you should not be able to wear it now." After saying this, he turned to the housekeeper behind him. The housekeeper nodded and walked in. After a while, he came out with a large rabbit wedding dress with 2 golden bells hanging from the ears, looking very cute. "Di Luo Feng, what is this?" Luo Qingxian took the wedding dress with a helpless look and said with a smile, "You wouldn't be thinking that the giant rabbit would steal the bride, right?" Di Luo Feng patted her head and said, "That is what I was hoping for." Chapter 464. To be honest, this wedding dress was just too big, but after she put it on, she was still very cute. She felt like a princess wrapped in a rabbit's castle, sweet and happy. "Qinger, you really don't want to change?" Di Luo Feng saw her stumbling and was afraid that she would fall down at any moment. Luo Qingxian pursed her lips and put on the hat, perfectly covering her little face. She said with a smile, "I don't want it. I want to wear this." Di Luo Feng had no other choice. He could only firmly hold her hand, carefully holding her hand with each step. The matron of honor's voice slowly sounded. She was actually a bit nervous. First bow to the 100-beast world. Whoa! Everyone cheered. Second bow to the heavenly ancestor. Whoa! Everyone cheered. The husband and wife bowed deeply. Send her to the bridal room. Everyone cheered. After that, with a flash of azure light, all the people watching were blocked outside the door. The D Manor's gates were filled with azure light, surrounding them in layers. Luo Qingchun felt that she had fallen into a warm embrace. A very warm embrace. So, Mr. D, I succeeded? Luo Qingchun pursed her lips and blinked. Very successful. He gently carried her to the room, covered in plush blankets. His movements were very soft and gentle. But when Luo Qingchun saw this room, her eyes instantly turned red. The room was filled with carrots and vegetables. It was so familiar. She was still a rabbit back then, raising her ears when she was happy and stomping her feet when she was angry. She liked leaning against him and liked seeing him knit his brows when he couldn't take it. In short, everything was very beautiful. What are you thinking? Di Luo Feng saw that she was a bit lost in thought and asked in a concerned voice. Woo! She rubbed her fake ears and said with a smile, I'm thinking about that fat rabbit. Then do you want to see it? Di Luo Feng gently stroked her hair and said, I can take you to see it tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Her eyes trembled as she said, Can I do it now? After that, Di Luo Feng decisively rejected her, not now. He slowly raised his hand, his slender fingers brushing past her rabbit wedding dress, gently undoing the ribbon. Ugh! In the next second, she felt her cheeks turn red and her red lips trembled as she said, Could it be that Miss Luo is planning to deny it after stealing the groom? He chuckled softly, his eyes filled with affection as he continued. Or perhaps she is shy? Shy? Who's shy? This Di Luo Feng was clearly openly flirting with her. No way. Absolutely not. Ahem, ahem. She cleared her throat and a smile appeared on her face. Lord husband, are you ready for the wedding night? Di Luo Feng was stunned, never thinking that she would tease him back. She felt her heart beat faster and faster, and her ears turned red. I'm ready, but you dong. After that, Luo Qingchun pressed him down. She looked like she couldn't lose and slightly raised Di Luo Feng's chin. Without another word, she kissed him. She clearly remembered that day in the ice room, how he kissed her other self. She was so gentle and delicate, so affectionate. But in the end, she had paid the price for her boldness. As a 9th-grade Imperial Beast Master who had never touched a girl before, he had really touched the one he loved. Chapter 465. It's said that in the D Manor that night, there were 2 rays of golden and azure light that shined like stars. After a night of tossing and turning, she couldn't even stand properly when she woke up in the morning. She was filled with regret. She shouldn't have casually flirted with young Master D. This proved that there was no free flirting in this world. One had to pay the price no matter what. Ching! Did you sleep well last night? Di Luo Feng came in with a basin of water for her to wash her face, looking very happy. Good? How was it good? Didn't she say that she would charge in alone until she reached the yellow nest? Why did it suddenly turn around? Humph! She angrily stretched out, and her bones gave a clear, cracking sound. Di Luo Feng quickly put down the basin and came over. He helped her massage her shoulders as he said, I didn't consider everything and messed with you last night. Ching, don't be angry with me. You'll definitely make it up to me tonight. Hey, tonight. You still want to have tonight? We'll sleep in separate rooms tonight. Luo Qingchun looked at Di Luo Feng and said with a serious nod, Don't, wife. Di Luo Feng said, Like this, the north and south that were just getting along will break apart again. I don't care. She shook her head in a determined manner. If I stay up all night, I won't be pretty soon. Don't, you're pretty. Di Luo Feng wrung the hot towel dry and gave it to her with a flattering look. I'll give you a present. If you're happy, can you give up on sleeping in separate rooms? Present? Luo Qingchun's eyes lit up as she said, What present? After all, she was a girl, so she had an irresistible desire for things like presents. Naturally, she wasn't an exception. After you wash your face and eat breakfast, I'll give it to you. Di Luo Feng gently patted her head and said, "Quickly get up." After breakfast, Di Luo Feng brought her to the ice room that she hadn't seen in a long time. The clouds of the past, everything seemed to flash in front of her eyes, and there was a mist that appeared in her eyes. It was unknown if she was happy or moved. But being able to return his side, it really was good. "I'll bring you to see the fat rabbit." Di Luo Feng took her hand and walked towards the white jade stairs. Every step she took shook the depths of her heart. She still remembered the last time she came to this ice room. She was still a rabbit. He said he would tell her a secret. Now that she had become a human, he said he wanted to give her a gift. Just like before, there was a crystal coffin in the center of the ice room. Looking from afar, he knew that it was the fat rabbit. She always felt that it was not suitable to stay in a cold place. She always felt that it should lie on a furry carpet. She always felt that it should be a carefree rabbit, even if it was fat, ugly, and had no skills. Even if it wasn't her. "Silly, don't be sad." Di Luo Feng looked into her eyes and gently said, "I know what you're thinking. I said that I would give you a present." As soon as he finished speaking, he picked up the soul lock buckle from his bosom. With a wave of his right hand, the azure ink pearl shone brightly. Luo Qingqian was stunned as she looked at him in disbelief. "What are you doing?" "You Ruo Shui stole the soul lock buckle from the underworld, but I don't know what its true use is." Di Luo Feng paused before saying, "It can summon spirits." Chapter 466. The light of life spread all around, and there was a faint glow. With a ding sound, the soul lock buckle released an azure green light. After that, the rabbit in the ice coffin moved its ears. Suddenly, it opened its eyes. Di Luo Feng's brows relaxed, and there was a sparkle in his eyes. He raised his right hand and released the azure ink orb's imperial beast power, sending it the cute rabbit that had just woken up. Pump! After that, there was a flash of golden light that hit the azure light that was about to reach the rabbit. "Chinger, what are you doing?" Di Luo Feng looked at her in a daze. "You want to tame this rabbit?" "Of course." Luo Qingqian pursed her lips into a smile and said, "This rabbit used to be mine." "No, this rabbit has a deep meaning to me." Di Luo Feng was a bit hesitant before looking at her and saying, "Wife, just give it to me." Luo Qingqian was a bit confused. It didn't matter if he had spirit beasts, since she wasn't interested in imperial beasts at all. But she was very interested in why Di Luo Feng wanted to tame this rabbit. But she pretended to be troubled as she said, "No matter what aspect it is, this rabbit has quite a bit of meaning to me." Di Luo Feng was a bit anxious. The azure light from his imperial beast power froze in the sky as he bit his lip and said, "I kissed it before. What is this?" After that, the golden light was stunned, and the azure light took advantage of this gap to surround the rabbit. After a few seconds, there was a Luo word that appeared on its forehead. What did you just say?" Luo Qingqian was completely immersed in what Di Luo Feng said and couldn't react for a while. "This." Di Luo Feng came forward and took the rabbit in his embrace. He said with a smile, "I was thinking that if I kissed it, you might steal it." "What is this?" Luo Qingqian calmed down and said, "It can't be that you have a hobby of kissing corpses, right?" "What is this?" Di Luo Feng imitated her tone. "I only like kissing my wife, all right?" "Humph." She put her hands on her hips and raised her eyebrows, pretending to be angry. "Do you like this rabbit more than me?" "How can that be? Look at the mark on its head." Di Luo Feng slightly raised the rabbit and looked at her in a pampering voice. The Luo word, "My name and your surname." The next second, she felt her cheeks turn red. She seemed to have been flirted with. The rabbit's eyes turned slightly, and its two furry ears perked up as if it was very happy. Postscript, it was said that the two most powerful Tier 9 Beastmasters on the 100 Beast continent loved to play with rabbits in their manners. It was almost their most beloved spirit beast, but it seemed that other than eating and sleeping, it didn't learn any skills. It always swaggered around the Emperor residence, and even the 4 great divine beasts had to retreat when they saw it. It could be said that its status was incomparably high. One day, a few years later, it suddenly lost the ability to walk on its feet. The reason was that it was too heavy and crushed the veins on its feet. From then on, it could only be carried around. It did not seem to be dispirited by this, and continued to eat and drink. Finally, on a certain afternoon, it died from being too fat. It said that its fat pressed down on its heart, and it suddenly died. Luo Qingshun was very sad, but Di Luo Feng told her that rabbits had short lives. Even spirit beasts were the same. It had already lived for over 90 years. She personally buried it and silently prayed for it, hoping that it would be fine after jumping stars. In this life, Luo Qingshun and Di Luo Feng didn't live for long because the Emperor contract in the Beast Mound had been revived. It wildly slaughtered with an unstoppable momentum, and in the end, they couldn't even seal it with their hands. The entire 100 Beast continent was destroyed by a single monster. This was something that Luo Qingshun, as the host, never would have thought. But the experience was happiness, so why did she care about the results? Having you before was the most beautiful memory. Chapter 467. 3 lives. The dream remains the same. I am only willing to spend a lifetime with you. Di Luo Feng. I knew my future mission since I was born. I knew my own abilities, and I knew that I would become the most outstanding person on the 100 Beast continent. However, the heavens didn't help me. I was actually taken by a little girl from the North faction. After seeing her once when I was 10 years old, the next time I saw her was in the mortal market. I knew that she could subdue the black bear beast with her abilities, but I still took out the azure ink orb to compete with her. However, with a wave of her right hand, there was a flash of golden light in front of my eyes. White light suddenly entered, and she successfully subdued the spirit beast in front of me. I was stunned at that moment. The 9th generation Imperial Beast Master really lived up to his name. The only time I truly had different feelings for her was when I was in the other shore, Forgotten River. Shueqilan's dream was that beautiful, so beautiful that I forgot my identity and my mission. I only thought that it was good to be with her. But the heavens seemed to be playing a joke on me. I actually saw her die in front of me. I thought that without personally seeing the separation of life and death, perhaps one would never understand what kind of despair was like. I brought her corpse back and placed it in an ice cellar. I went to see her every day and helped her fix her face. She was still that beautiful, I wouldn't get tired of looking at her. Later on, I bought a little rabbit out of the blue. I didn't know why, but the rabbit I bought on the way added a touch of color to my life of despair. Time passed very quickly, and it went from a little rabbit to a big rabbit. It kept getting bigger and bigger, becoming very fat. By chance, I saw it standing in front of a mirror looking left and right. Then its ears drooped down as if it was very depressed. I softly stroked its head, and it liked to rub against my chest, looking very cute. It was a very mysterious rabbit. It could understand human language, but it couldn't awaken any skills. I had the snow mastiff help it upgrade its skills, but the number 1 divine beast was actually acting cute in front of a fat rabbit. I simply didn't dare believe it, but facts told me that it was like this. Until I brought it to share my secret. Then I learned its secret. It turned out that love had never left. It was just that it was still there, and he didn't know it. When I found out that she had turned into a rabbit, I was so happy. Every day, I would think about how to do something for her, such as building a room for her or custom-made clothes for her. Just when I thought that I could happily carry out my love, the heavens once again cruelly hurt me. It was like an endless cycle of despair. However, she appeared again. It was her body, but it was not her. I knew, but I didn't expose it. I had been waiting, creating an opportunity for that man to give himself away. At the same time, I selfishly did one thing, which was to wait for her to come and steal the bride. What we said is a promise. No matter how slim the hope is, I will still have 100% expectation and wait for her to come. She didn't know how much my heart trembled when she said the word imposter. At that time, my mind was completely blank. I was like a person who had lost his soul and used up all his strength. But fortunately, you're back. It's good that you're back. Chapter 468. I'm not willing to be separated from her. If we have to be separated, I'd rather bid farewell to this world. The system is a bit nervous because the system has many questions to ask. Then think about it. Pooh humph. The system gave a proud snort. However, Di Luo Feng ignored it. No opening, no prelude, no beginning. The system is asking questions. Unsystem ask. First question. 3-world love tribulations. Which one did you like the most? I like them all. So short. Second question. When she turned into a rabbit, why didn't you immediately notice? It was very hard to notice. A dead person turning into a rabbit. Even I wouldn't believe it if I told others. All right? Oh, all right, the system also thinks this. The system helplessly nodded its non-existent head. Third question. Why do you like kissing dead people and rabbits? System. Do you really want to keep doing this? Do you know the next world? The system knows. Don't scare the system. Fourth question. If time could go back, where would you want it to stop? Other shore, forgotten river. Is that place really that good? At least I've never lost her. Fifth question. Between you and her, who are both 9th grade Imperial Beast Masters, who do you think is stronger? Of course it's her. I'm a typical henpecked husband. After getting married, I haven't tamed any other spirit beasts other than that rabbit, while the host is so strong. Sixth question. How do you know that the person who came out of the ice coffin wasn't the host? I think that I have a heart that absolutely loves her. Even if that face made me waver a bit, it couldn't stop the rejection in my heart. The system has found that you people all like to talk about love. It feels too much. The system was still a baby. It didn't like to eat dog food. Seventh question. When did you feel that you were the most gentle? When I was playing with rabbits. Why does young Master D like to play with rabbits? Because it's fat, ugly, and cute. Eighth question. What did you feel when you first saw her? Don't tell the system that it's love at first sight. The favorability level proves that it's definitely not the case. I'm wondering if this person is here to cause trouble. Then, even after using all my strength, I could only be on par with her. That feeling of not wanting to admit defeat slowly emerged in my heart. Oh, the system knew. So you reduced the host's favorability. This is too much. I'm sorry. A sincere apology. If I had known that I would be so inseparable from her, I would have given her 100 points at first glance. I would never let her suffer. Ninth question. What is the most inconceivable thing you've experienced in this plane? In the end, I still married the 3rd daughter of a Luo family. After going around in circles, it turned out that everything was predestined. Our 3 lifetimes of love was just a kind of reincarnation to test our love. Although I don't like this kind of reincarnation, as long as she can return to my side, everything is fine. 10th question. Cough, cough. Why didn't the 2 of you agree to the Emperor contract? What happened to the promised peace of the continent and the protagonist aura? The protagonist aura only exists in novels. Reality is very cruel. Not all light can exist forever. When darkness swallows everything, you can only tightly hug the person beside you. You can't do anything else. The system seems to understand a little. Chapter 469. La 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 la. Welcome back to the embrace of the chaos space. Luo Qingshun softly replied before muttering. It's all because of D. Luo Feng. Otherwise, I would have died with that trash Emperor contract. He knows. What? Luo Qingshun's eyes were a bit stunned as she said, why did he stop me if he knew? Because to him, that world has no meaning without you. Her eyes couldn't help turning red. To D. Luo Feng, she was more important than his soul. Perhaps this was why he could wait for her for 3 lifetimes, never forgetting her. The following is a summary of the mission. Host, please properly look over it. Name, Luo Qingshun World. 9th grade Imperial Beast Masters 3 lifetimes love disaster. Mission completion rate. 100% currently. There are 2 items in the EXP dimensional storage. Beauty Pill and iPhone 999. Exchange points, 6,400. The host's 9th mission panel is below. Appearance, physical strength, charm, figure, God. This panel. Luo Qingshun said in a surprised voice. It's a bit amazing. System, when did you treat me this well? However, what surprised her even more was that, after that, the bronze mirror didn't turn to the next page. Luo Qingshun's eyes trembled as she asked in a doubtful voice, is the bronze mirror broken? She was a bit worried in her heart. When did the system treat her this well? No, because the host's next world is a bit special. The bronze mirror didn't show it. Although the system's voice was still very mechanical, there was a faint tremble to it. I don't understand. How is it special? Luo Qingshun knit her brows as a bit of unease flashed in her eyes. This was her first time in the chaos space. Before she even reached the next world, she felt uneasy. The host will no longer have any mission information in the 10th world. Luo Qingshun took a cold breath and asked, "You mean that I don't even know who the male lead is?" "Yes. My God, are there any other changes other than this? The host will no longer have the system." "Damn, are you kidding me?" Luo Qingshun jumped up from her pink bed and said in a panic, "In other words, I don't have any abilities to use." "Yes. The host will receive special agent skills before going to the plane. The exchange will be free." "Hee hee." Luo Qingshun sneered twice and said, "You're going to send me to my death. If you don't do it for free, how can you justify it?" "Host, you can also choose not to." "Of course I want it." She touched her chin and thought seriously. So the original owner's identity this time was a special agent? "Yes. Is the host ready to go to the next plane?" Wait. Luo Qingshun cleared her throat and continued. "Could it be that I don't even have the memories of the original owner?" "Yes, there is. Don't worry, host." "So, host, get ready to go. Stop. Luo Qingshun continued to ask curiously. "Then how do I know when the quest is over?" "When the quest is over, the system will give the host a prompt. Other than that, the system will not appear again." "Fuck, forget it. I don't want to see you anyway." Luo Qingshun closed her eyes and said through gritted teeth, "Open." Chapter 470. The last sentence that the system had said to her flashed through her mind. Go back to 3 months before the previous host died. She was very serious when she received the memories this time. Even if it was a person that only appeared once, she would firmly imprint them in her mind, because she knew that she didn't have any help from the system this time. The previous host was the #1 agent of the Z Country Shadow Organization. She was in charge of large-scale assassination and bombing missions. The final mission before she died was to assassinate the C Country's leader, Du Jiusheng. Then before she could even see Du Jiusheng, she was killed by that scum man and that scum woman. One was her most trusted partner. One was her most protected little sister. The plot was very melodramatic and reality was very cruel. Her most trusted partner was called Zuyuchun, and her little sister was called Luo Zijun. Zuyuchun was the #2 agent of the Shadow Organization, the previous host's best partner. None of the missions that they had carried out together had failed, and every single one of them had been a perfect success. They were deeply loved by Mr. X, and the previous host's little sister had seen everything. She wasn't convinced. She always felt that she should be a pair with Zuyuchun. She had this idea because of a large-scale assassination plan. Luo Zijun wasn't a member of the Shadow Organization at that time and had appeared as a hostage in front of the enemy. The previous host did everything to save her, not caring about the cost. However, she couldn't change her little sister's personality. Because Zuyuchun had taken a bullet for her, that bullet had changed her entire life. But she didn't know that in that assassination plan, the previous host had been hit by 7 bullets and her life had been hanging by a thread. She had almost risked her life to save her sister, but all she got in return was a deliberate attempt to kill her. Luo Zijun had ignored her opposition and insisted on joining the Shadow Organization. Although her skills weren't bad, she couldn't stand side by side with Zuyuchun. As time passed, the jealousy in her heart became deeper. The previous host never thought that the little sister she had loved since she was young would set a trap for her for a man, because she had fallen in love with this man and she loved him very deeply. As the #1 agent, the previous host was very decisive and did things very carefully. If it wasn't for the fact that the one who set the trap was her little sister, she definitely wouldn't have died in that explosion. It was a death banquet. When the original owner was ambushed, there were more than a dozen killers around her. She used her super high agent ability to escape perfectly, but she never thought that her sister, Luo Zijun, in order to lure her in her trap, would use herself as bait to lure her into the land of death. The previous owner would never forget the smile Luo Zijun gave her at the end. It was a dark flower that bloomed from the bottom of her heart. Zui-Yu-chun had also participated in this plan because he couldn't get what he wanted and because he wanted to become the Shadow Organization's #1 agent. Letting her die if he couldn't love her, that was Zui-Yu-chun's style. Two people with the same goal would naturally walk together. They both hoped that the original owner would die. Luo Qingshun took a deep breath and sorted out all the character relationships. There were many characters in the original owner's memory, but most of the sad memories were related to Zui-Yu-chun and Luo Zijun. It can't be that the male lead is Zui-Yu-chun, right? It didn't look like it. The system shouldn't have given her such a trashy male lead. However, the system had said that this mission was very special. Perhaps it was referring to this. Humph. But so what? Chapter 471. Going back to 3 months ago, she had just received the mission Mr. X gave her, which was to kill the Sea Country's chief Du Jiusheng. There was only a single photo, and it wasn't his face. Luo Qingshun slowly picked up the photo as a sparkle appeared in her eyes. The person in the photo was dressed in a military uniform. His exquisite facial features exuded the aura of a king. His dark and deep eyes carried a touch of coldness. His thin lips were slightly pursed, and there was a faint cherry red color in them. Such a handsome person. Her heart trembled. Even if she had seen all these handsome men, she still felt that the man in front of her was so handsome that it made people suffocate. Big sister. There was a delicate voice that came from behind her. Luo Qingshun put the photo in her pocket as her eyes filled with an extreme coldness. She slowly turned around and saw Luo Zijun slowly walking toward her. Low chest, revealing shoulders, and enchanting red lips. Her lips curled into an intoxicating smile as she continued. Big sister has received another mission. Mr. X really values you. Luo Qingshun gave a soft laugh as her voice was as cold as water. She narrowed her eyes and said, "You're very right. What? You don't have any missions recently?" Luo Zijun heard this and was a bit surprised. She felt that there was something wrong with Luo Qingshun today. She had never spoken to her in such an overbearing manner before. She clearly knew that because she didn't cooperate with Zui-Yu-chun in the H country's arms smuggling mission, although they completed the mission, there was a mistake. One of the key people wasn't killed. It was because of this matter that she and Zui-Yu-chun were punished. Not only did they drop 2 levels, they couldn't accept missions for a while. Luo Qingshun clearly knew about this matter, but she still asked her, which made her feel a bit annoyed. "That's right. Big sister is this outstanding. How can I compare to you?" Luo Zijun wanted to praise her first before praising herself. But she never thought that Luo Qingshun would answer her. "It's good that you know." She narrowed her eyes, and her lips curled into a faint smile. He looked at Luo Zijun with the attitude of a victor. Luo Zijun froze on the spot. She suddenly felt that the person in front of her was a stranger. In the past, although her elder sister was strong, she would always give in to her and let her have the upper hand. But why was it so different today? Beautiful sisters, what are you talking about? Zui-Yu-chun walked up the stairs to the center of the lab. He looked at them with a gentle smile as he said, "Can you share it with me?" Cough, cough. Luo Zijun cleared her throat and laughed. "We were talking about sister's mission this time. I heard that it's a very important mission. Mr. X really thinks highly of sister." There was an awkward look in Zui-Yu-chun's eyes, but he covered it with a smile as he said, "Of course, Qingshun's abilities are obvious to everyone. She deserves the title of #1 agent. It's good that you know." She gave a soft snort before looking at Zui-Yu-chun and saying, "A good partner can let you soar, and a bad partner can only make you fall. Do you understand?" As soon as he said this, the atmosphere became awkward. However, for Luo Qingshun, her heart was filled with satisfaction. Chapter 472. Luo Zijun was very powerful. She could change the topic with a single sentence and point her spear at Luo Qingshun. Luo Qingshun knew the meaning of her words. It was nothing more than a battle between her and Zui-Yu-chun for the title of #1 agent. Some people can reach the top with hard work, and some people. She revealed an uncaring smile as her eyes fell onto Luo Zijun. There's no chance even if they work hard. After saying this, she put her hands in her pocket and her eyes revealed the look of a victor. Luo Zijun was left biting her lip with an unwilling look on her face. Zuyu-chan watched her leave with a different emotion in his eyes. Walking out of the base, Luo Qingchen looked at the mission information on the watch on her right hand, and a deep look appeared in her eyes. Du Jiusheng, Sea Country's chief, Du Jiusheng. Sea Country's youngest military commander. Whether it was his mind or his skills, he was a first-class expert, an absolute genius. Mr. X wanted to kill him because he had the other half of the Destiny Life map, and the Shadow Organization only had the other half. This Destiny Life map had a very mysterious legend. It was said that the person who obtained it would have endless wealth or abilities that surpassed normal people. Killing people was a secondary goal. Obtaining the Destiny Life map was the main goal. At this moment, she suddenly felt a bit disappointed. If the system was still here, she could ask what the use of this Destiny Life map was. It was a pity that she was fighting alone this time. Actually, she wasn't that interested in this mission at first, but in the memories of the previous host, there was not a single agent of the Shadow Organization who didn't complete the mission that was standing in front of her alive. Mr. X was a very ruthless person. He never held back because of your past achievements. As long as someone failed once, they had no value in his eyes. Luo Qingchen took a deep breath as she tightly knit her brows. She didn't know what the mission was this time. Was it to kill people, or to steal the Destiny Life map? She just knew that what awaited her would be very dangerous. Sea Country. Luo Qingchen settled in a city. Du Jiusheng's military base was only a few dozen kilometers away from a city, so it was less than 2 hours by car. The night was as dark as water. She put on a special tight-fitting agent suit and took out a smoke bomb from her backpack. She relied on her super advanced technology and the ability of the #1 agent. They successfully infiltrated Du Jiusheng's military base. There was a faint murderous aura in the air. According to the intelligence, the top secret of the military base should be in the treasure vault. This was a challenge that had never happened before. After easily dealing with the guards at the door, she went to the first floor of the treasury. He took out a huge pair of sunglasses from the inside of his clothes. The infrared detection line in front of him was clear at a glance. With her special agent skills, she was exceptionally agile. She easily passed through them and arrived at the second floor of the treasure vault. This place required specific fingerprints to enter. On both sides were iron walls formed by bullet holes. It seemed that if the fingerprint verification failed, the surrounding mechanisms would be activated. At that time, a rain of bullets would fly towards her. Luo Qingchen gave a soft laugh. She took out an ice bomb from her pocket and rolled it on the ground, causing the surrounding temperature to drop. When it reached 0, it was frozen. Her lips curled into a beautiful curve as she elegantly walked forward. Standing in front of the fingerprint unlock tablet, she raised the watch on her right hand and softly put it down. There was a get-on sound as the door slowly opened. When Luo Qingchen's brows relaxed, the door that was slightly opened suddenly closed. Chapter 473. After that, she felt a chill run down her spine as her blood turned cold. She was discovered? How was that possible? Did someone leak her whereabouts? At this time, Luo Zijun, who was sitting in the Shadow Agent base, was elegantly drinking her coffee. She narrowed her eyes, and her red lips revealed a confident smile. The round blue laser door slowly opened, and Zuyu-chun came in with a dark face, looking livid. "What is it, big brother Yu-chun? Are you in a bad mood?" Luo Zijun raised a brow, looking very charming. Since she gave herself to him last night, she had been captivated by this man again. He was incomparably brave on the bed and filled with love. Moreover, he even told her about the mission Luo Qingchen gave her this time. It was simply the heavens helping her. "You don't know what you're doing?" His eyes were very cold, like they could freeze everyone around him. Luo Zijun's eyes were a bit dazed as she bit her lip and said, "What about me? You think that Mr. X wouldn't know that you wrote a secret letter to Sea Country's chief, Du Jiusheng?" Zuyu-chan gave a cold snort as he looked at her and said, "Do you know that this is betrayal?" Luo Zijun suddenly stood up and the coffee cup fell to the ground. Her face turned pale, and her lips couldn't help trembling as she looked at Zhuyu-chun. Does Mr. X know? No. Who do you think Mr. X is? Zhuyu-chun's face was dark as he said, This time, I'm afraid. No. Luo Zijun shook her head in a panic as she looked at him and said, Big brother Yu-chun, I don't want to betray the organization. You have to help me. She just wanted to kill Luo Qingchun. She never wanted to betray the organization. Rather, she wanted to climb to the top. Do you think Mr. X will believe your words? Yu-chun tightly knit his brows and said, Even I can't escape responsibility for this matter. You should take care of yourself. After saying this, Zhuyu-chun turned to leave, not planning on staying a second longer. No! Luo Zijun came forward and tightly grabbed his arm. You have to help me, otherwise I'll tell Mr. X that you were the one who instigated me to do this. You want to be number one, so you want me to harm my sister. There was a fierce look in her eyes as she looked at Zhuyu-chun and said word for word. To her, love was secondary to life and honor. Zhuyu-chun clearly never thought that Luo Zijun, who had secretly come into his room to seduce him, would actually turn against him today. There is only one person who can help you now. Zhuyu-chun slightly knit his brows as he said, If she helps you, perhaps you can still live. Who? Luo Zijun's eyes turned cold, looking at Zhuyu-chun like she was grasping at a life-saving straw as she asked this. Your elder sister. 10 minutes later, Mr. X sat in front of her with his back facing her. The cigar in his hand blew out a beautiful cloud of smoke. He said in a simple and cold voice, I heard from Yu-chun that you have something to say. I'll give you 1 minute to finish what you want to say. His voice was very cold, almost without any warmth. It was as if this minute was her last minute in this world. No, it didn't seem like it. That's right. Chapter 474. You still have 30 seconds. After a while, Mr. X's voice sounded again. Luo Zijun bit her lips in fear and said, I want to join hands with sister to break through the enemy. 10 seconds. The dozen agents around Mr. X all raised their revolvers at the same time. We have a new plan. 3 seconds. I want to win. I want to surpass her. At the last moment, she practically closed her eyes and hysterically yelled out, Pung! Mr. X raised his pistol and fired a shot. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness as he looked at her and said, There are 2 conditions for keeping your life. In the next second, Luo Zijun's trembling legs instantly went soft. Mr. X blew the smoke from the gun and said, 1. Your sister, Luo Qingchun, didn't die. 2. You have to get the other half of the Destiny life map faster than her. At the same time, on the other side, Luo Qingchun was standing in a long and narrow hallway. She watched as the iron hole sealed by the ice bomb gradually melted. She stood in front of the door with the password tablet, and her breathing became a bit rushed. It seems like she still underestimated Luo Zijun. She even dared to snitch on her. Pong! At this moment, the outer layer of ice around the iron hole suddenly collapsed, and the laser flames came out. In fact, it also carried the bullets of a heavenly maiden scattering flowers. Luo Qingchun's eyes narrowed as she fought and retreated. She practically flew back and forth between the lasers and bullets. But the lasers were different from bullets. The lasers would advance layer by layer, and everything in their path would be instantly burned to nothing. At first, there were 4 lasers, then 16, then 32. When the lasers reached 32, the hallway would be completely surrounded by lasers, and she would have no way out. Luo Qingchun bit her lips. She stood at the boundary point. Behind her right hand was the door, but she couldn't open it. She closed her eyes and fiercely cursed that Luo Zijun in her heart, but there was nothing she could do. Right now, no matter who was standing in this hallway, they wouldn't be able to leave. Just as the laser flames shot out 32 times, her leather clothes were instantly set ablaze. The scorching pain seeped into her skin, and her face instantly turned pale. In the next second, a man in a camouflage uniform passed through the layers of lasers and shuttled rapidly through the corridor. It was as if he had entered a no-man's land and reached her side at the fastest speed. Luo Qingchun expressed her astonishment at this second. Moreover, she wanted to take back what she had just said. Now, no matter who was standing in this corridor, they would not be able to get out. In the next second, he reached out his hand and pressed his slender fingertips firmly on the fingerprint display. With a beep, the door was opened. The 32 laser flames behind him instantly turned into 64. He conveniently pulled Luo Qingshun, who was beside him, through the circular arched door. On the third floor of the treasure vault, the air was filled with a faint burnt smell. She nodded slightly and looked at the man in military uniform in front of her. His eyes were as deep as the stars, his skin was as white as snow, and his body was tall and straight. He was so handsome that it was incomparable. Just by casually standing there, he attracted all of her attention. Luo Qingshun knit her brows. She knew that she couldn't be distracted at all in this situation because the person in front of her was the target she wanted to kill, Du Jiusheng. Seeing that the other party didn't react, she tentatively moved her heel back a little. But she never thought that the other side would take out a gun and point at her head. "I'll give you 10 seconds. Tell me your goal here."